Control-Alt-Redeem is for anyone called to ministry in the digital frontier, gamers, streamers, and everyday believers navigating life online. Each episode equips you to live on mission and the real stories of lives being changed. Reset your expectations, reframe your mission, and redeem the space you're already in. This is where digital ministry gets practical, creative, grounded, and hopeful. One episode at a time.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Welcome in to Control-Alt-Redeem. This is the rebranding of the podcast. So season 2, we're getting underway and really trying to focus on how do we get this out in front of more people so that we can redeem the culture, redeem the space, redeem people that are in digital spaces. So that's a rebrand. This is the launch of that. I'm excited about the new look, the new feel, and we've got Anika's Cakery hanging out with us today. So I happen to love all of the little niches that are in Twitch. So I've had have musicians on to talk about. We haven't had baking yet, and so I'm excited to have you on here.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here.
I've done my stream knows, my other channel knows I do cooking streams from time to time, which just kind of started as a, hey, the holidays are coming up. There's people outside the U.S. that don't know anything about a Thanksgiving meal, what goes into it, and people that might be home with nobody around for the holiday. So I think I did my third or I gotta go back and look if it's my third or fourth. I think it might actually be my fourth live cooking stream.
It was your fourth.
Yeah, I think it is my fourth for Thanksgiving, and it turned out pretty good. I had a good time. We kind of got to a lull in the middle there, going, I got so much stuff done. What do I do now? We're waiting for this to be ready to go, and then just kind of going, what do I do? So maybe you can, share some of those insights when you're doing cooking and you're just waiting on something to finish baking. What do you do?
For the cake streams, there's not too often. I have a few of those lulls, but not a ton of them. So because I don't really do the food and drink stream so much of like cooking meals, I just do cakes, and then like sometimes I just do like baking, where it's like, okay, we're gonna make a bunch of cookies and brownies and like random baked goods. With those streams, there's definitely more waiting time, but I kind of already know that that's coming. So I try, if I can, to plan like, oh, we're going to make these cookies, but then there'll be a bunch of dead time. All right, let's also make some brownies or have this other thing going that I can I know I can overlap it with. Yeah. So often my baking streams will have like 2 projects going, which it adds to me probably messing up and forgetting an ingredient or like making a hot mess, but it at least kills some of the downtime. But with the cake streams, there's definitely downtime when I'm chilling cakes and they have to sit in the fridge.
Right.
But with that, thankfully, it's often like, okay, well, while it's sitting in the fridge, we're going to now like make this decoration or work on this little piece. So there's lots of things, at least in the baking and cake decorating sphere, to fill those gaps.
Yeah. What I ended up running into was doing a deep fry turkey. So I wanted to show everybody when it came out, but it was, I'm waiting 40 minutes and everything else that's getting cooked is in the oven. What do I do while I'm just waiting to show you the turkey come out? That was kind of the issue that I ran into, but I created my own problem, I guess. So, usually I would just stream up until it's going in the oven, everybody, and maybe we chat for a while and then we would be done. So I really wanted to show the turkey when it got done. And then I deep fried a second turkey. So it was a whole bunch of stuff going on.
Yeah, I lurked back and forth on your stream, and I caught you putting the second turkey in, and then you ended pretty soon after that because I think your Wi-Fi was like acting up or something.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, dang it. I'm finally I was about to start chatting because I finally had the time to chat in the chat. And then I saw the raid was about to go, and I was like, dang it.
Those kind of things happen, and I like those ongoing long streams like that. I mean, I think it was last year I forgot to put the turkey in. I should have put it in, and it was like I put the turkey in an hour late from what we were doing stuff, and that was interesting, but it all turned out fine. And there's just, I don't know why and maybe you can, because you do more cooking streams and baking streams than I do. Why do people really like that interaction of watching someone in the kitchen making things. I don't know what there is about it, but I know I always loved hanging out with my mom in the kitchen cooking things. And I always love hanging out with my kids in the kitchen growing up, teaching them how to cook and having conversations. So maybe there's just something about that that makes it feel homey and welcoming and an open space. I don't know if that's what you find or...
Yeah, food brings people together. I mean, even just if you just thinking of the sense of like all people watching on Twitch, I mean, the Food Network is a thing.
Yeah.
There's an entire TV channel just for cooking. But
well,
really,
on
I think
some level, yeah, on some level, whenever I've watched that, I know there's different types of shows. I've more watched it to learn something so I could go do it as opposed to just watch it all the time. But maybe I'm not the same audience that is just there for the entertainment of it. I know that when my mom comes to visit, we watch the Great British Baking Show is usually what we pull up and watch. And, the competition of baking stuff, I hate to say it, but like the first half of the show is watching the people mess up. And then you get to the grand finale and it's like going, I want to celebrate the winner. It's kind of like that transitional shift of, haha, I'm better than that person, or, oh, they messed up. And then it becomes I could never do that. Wow, look at how good that is kind of piece to it. But maybe that's just my mom and I don't know.
I think it's really relational. Like food brings people together, not in just the eating, but in the preparing. It's, when you're cooking, what else? When you're with people, what else are you going to do? You're going to talk, you're going to connect, you're going to, invest in each other's lives. You're all the gossip of the town, all of those things. So I think there's a community building aspect to it. And it's something that we can all relate to. We all eat, and most people cook to some degree or another. So there's a level of interest in food, whether you like to cook or not. There's still a fascination to it because we all eat, we all like food. And I think even more now mainstream, like you've got all of the TikTokers and the Instagrammers who do the recipes. You've got YouTube and Twitch now too. And the Food Network as well. So there's a fascination because we can all connect to this thing. Not all of us are woodworkers or work on computers or pick a hobby or a craft.
Yeah.
But we all eat food. So I think there's that connection of we can all relate to this, and then over it we can all bond in the connection when we're making it together.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That there is a relative piece that you're not going to go a week without eating. It's you're gonna eat. I know people might be fasting and you do long fasts and that kind of thing, but you're not going to go very long without eating. No matter what your intent is, at some point you're going to need to eat, and somebody needs to prepare it. I think on some level too, there's a level at which just like over the last couple of years, I've spent more time having fun cooking than I did in a long time. And I used to work in restaurants cooking, but at some point it just became a chore to do, and you wanted to do it as quickly as possible to get it over. And I've gotten back into the realm of I want to take my time cooking and enjoy the process of meal preparation as much as the enjoyment I see on people's faces when they eat it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a craft, and it's a hobby for some people. It's being able to enjoy the process, I think is a big part of cooking, to the draw to the kitchen, to finding the excitement and the art in it, because that's what cooking really is. Cooking is the art.
Yes. Yeah, it definitely is art. You create things of beauty, and beauty in the way they look, the beauty in the way they taste, how they make you feel, or even in the memories, the smells that can create those memories that you're going to be refreshed with when you smell certain things again. Oh, that reminds me of, or, oh, this is so good. Oh, this is just like, those are all fun moments.
Mm-hmm.
So I always start somewhere in the conversation asking, how did you end up on Twitch? And maybe it was just you started as a viewer. Some people, they started, oh, I'm going to go do this. I want to be a streamer. Other people, they start and go, oh, I'm going to intentionally be a Christian streamer. Or it's, no, I just started as a streamer, then decided. So what is your, exposure first to Twitch, and then your journey as being a Twitch streamer? How did that all get started for you?
Well, I didn't know Twitch existed until 2020, I think. I started watching Minecraft YouTube, and I found Captain Sparkles, and I really enjoyed his content. And he would talk about like, oh, you can watch, the videos be filmed live, like on Twitch and whatever. And I was like, whatever. And then one day I finally decided like, I'll try watching it. And so I did watch some live streams, and it was really exciting. And I learned about Twitch a bit. And at some point it kind of like things kind of crossed over my mind where I realized like, wait, I have people tell me like all the time, oh, I wish I could just come over and sit with you while you make a cake and just watch you. And I'm like, no, you don't. You don't want to come to my house and sit in my kitchen or my cake studio for like 8 hours and just like sit there and talk to me and have nothing to do except to twiddle your thumbs and like watch me frost a cake. Like, no, you don't. I thought that was ridiculous. And I would invite people like, if you want to come over, like you can. And no one, and no one ever takes.
No one ever did. Right.
Yeah. And finally, like my brain was like, well, I mean, people watch all kinds of things on Twitch, I guess. Like, what if they would want to watch like cake decorating? And one tiny lore piece is that I don't think I've ever shared even on my stream is there are technically about 3 or 4 original streams on the Cakery that were me playing Minecraft, attempting to play Minecraft streams that just did not, it was just awkward and weird. There was no camera. It was just my voice and it was just really weird. It was originally, I tried that a couple of times, but yeah, then I had that idea of like, well, what if I showed like making cakes? And I was like, no way, no one's gonna do that. And then lo and behold, like I've had people stick with me through 8-9 hour long projects. And yeah, it was crazy. It was like, oh, people will actually like hang out with me. And it was really nice for me because I used to work in a bakery in person before I got married and then started, moving all over the world, not being able to work in a place and not be with people while I worked. And I am an extrovert. And it was so nice to go from just listening to like Star Trek in the background to having people in chat that I could talk to again. It was like, they're not here in person, but it's like still not, I'm not alone anymore while I'm working. I get to talk to people.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that express that same kind of thought of I work at home, I work alone, I have no coworkers to chat with, which is one reason why co-working is becoming a popular thing too, is, hey, there's someone else alongside of me throughout my day. I'm not isolated. I'm not alone. And I would say chat is there with you. They may not all be able to be on voice, but it is a real person behind the words in the stream. And the Emperor is here, and we might have others that are there lurking. I don't know. There's people hanging out while we're having a conversation, and they can join in the conversation, ask questions about what you're doing and those things. So you played around with Minecraft a little bit and went, yeah, that's not my thing. Oh, I could stream because people have said I'd love to watch you bake a cake. So when you started, how often were you streaming? And how long were your streams? Because you're like, well, I could be 8 hours to do this. Did you start that long to begin with?
It varied, and it still varies. My streams right now, they've been averaging about 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours, just because of the place in life I'm at with what I can do. But when I first started, I was taking cake orders, so I would do those. But my first ever stream was like 4 days in a row. I think it was 4 days. 3 or 4 days in a row. I had a project that I wanted to make. It was a design that I'd drawn myself that I was really proud of. And I was like, I want to make this because this is one of the things that's like, that I love that Twitch was part of this, was because for me as an artist, it was a big moment for me to make that cake because it was the first really like mature professional kind of design that I'd ever come up with that I was very excited to make. And I wanted to do it extremely well. And I did it on stream and it took about 4 days. And it turned out just like the picture, which also was this first for me and was very exciting. And I got to do it all on Twitch and meet new people. I got my first raid through that set of streams.
Oh, fun.
Which was wild because that first raid was like, I think it was like 80 people. It was very stressful and terrifying for your first raid to be like massive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was so scary.
Right. And if you're just getting started, you don't have all the things you develop later. Oh, well, let me go to a scene for the raid coming in. Let me play a highlight video and stuff. Like, you have none of that prepped. Like, yeah.
I was just panicking like the whole time.
Yeah, I could see that.
But yeah, so like that was like quite a few hours each day. And then, I'd have another cake that maybe only took me about 5 hours. I had probably another cake that was several streams, but the final stream to finish it and put it together was 9 hours straight.
Oh, wow.
So I gave myself like a 15-minute break to eat some food, but otherwise 9 hours straight. There were people who stuck with me the entire 9 hours, which was insane. But yeah, it really was just, it varied. It all depended on the project that I had at the time, because I was mostly taking cake orders. So it was not a set day, not a set time.
Right.
It was, all right, I got to make a Hot Wheels cake. Today we're going to make an edible track and all the details for 6 hours. Then tomorrow we're going to frost the cakes for 4 hours. Then the next day we're going to put it all together for another 8 hours or whatever. So it very much was like, it varied a lot.
Yeah. So you're taking orders. Do the people that you're taking orders from know you're streaming, making them, and are they watching you? I'm just curious about that.
I don't know that I told every single person that, especially at the beginning, but by the end of my time at our last location, I was kind of like making sure like they knew like, hey, if you want to see your cake getting made, like here's a link, and just so you know. And I think I only ever had maybe one person actually watch or like kind of like pop in of people I didn't know that I made cakes for. But yeah, like they usually knew. And I mean, I made my sister-in-law's wedding cake last year, like a little over a year ago, and she was in my chat watching her wedding cake get made the whole time.
Yeah, that would be really kind of cool, especially something like that. If it's going to happen, or if I'm asking you to make a surprise cake for someone else, and I get to watch it being made before that. They don't have any idea, but I'm watching the whole thing. That would just feel like, haha, I'm in the know and you don't know kind of thing. Even more so than just I paid for it and it shows up. You know what I mean? It would feel more like I was part of the whole surprise process, a little bit deeper maybe, but maybe that's just my sinister part about surprising other people. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, for the last day of working on my sister-in-law's wedding cake, I banned her, but not actually banned, but like I told her she wasn't allowed. I was like, okay, you can't look now. Like this is like the last day. Don't come in stream.
Yeah. Let the final product give you the awe when you see it finally completed and put together. Yeah, I can see that. So when you started with streaming and said, I'm gonna do cakes. I don't know this will work or not work. Were you thinking I'm going to be intentionally open about my faith as I do this, or how has that developed over time for you of talking about your faith? Because baking a cake doesn't naturally say, oh, I'm going to talk about my faith. But like we were talking about, when you're cooking naturally opens itself up to talk about life. So it could. So what was your thought process? How did that develop as you've been a streamer?
It definitely wasn't a thought process at first. It was just, let's share this. This is cool. Have fun with it and stuff. It wasn't really until I found like the Christian side of Twitch that I was like, oh, I could do this and I probably should. And that's when and you know, that's after finding like Lux Digital Church. And kind of, it was like, okay, well, what can I do on the cake stream to kind of incorporate stuff? And I played around with like, you know, maybe praying like at the start of stream, and I did that for a while, and like the habit was kind of hard to keep up. And that channel has definitely like kind of morphed into its own kind of thing. I am not super overt with that channel. If someone specifically asks me to pray for them, I'll pray for them as I'm working, or people if they have like something they, you know, decide to say or something in chat. But that channels, I'll have worship music playing, and it's more like, yes, I'm a Christian. I make that, you know, that's clear and that's obvious, you know, please don't swear, please don't be inappropriate, all those things. But the cake channel, especially, I feel that I have kind of come to a space of wanting it to be a channel. What's the wording I'm trying to find here? Like a gateway, like a very safe gateway that they can come into my channel and they know that first and foremost, and it's one of the things I try to say as often as I can, of like, you're loved beyond anything you know, like you're loved beyond measure, you're loved more than you know, like you're welcome here no matter where you're at in life, and that sort of thing. And I've got worship music playing. I'll pray for you if you need to, but otherwise, like, just come and be somewhere comfortable and know that like you can be in a Christian streamer's stream without fear of being attacked or judged, or like basically come and know that not every Christian you need to be afraid of.
Right.
Because we know that a lot of people on Twitch are afraid of Christians to a degree. They don't trust them. And so I want people to realize that that's not Jesus and that's not who I am. So you can come in and live your life and be loved and know that there are Christians out there who are safe. And then I leave that into God's hands of like, all right, we'll raid into people like Jake. We'll raid into, I've never been able to raid you, but like you would also be in one of those lists of if you were live when I was live.
Right. You might catch me gaming sometime, but otherwise, yeah, my normal stream is in the morning, or if I'm doing a podcast, you might catch me otherwise. But yeah. There's a lot of them out there now that there didn't used to be, or they're easier to find now. And we also have been creating communities around and connecting with each other so that people do know of us. But yeah, that's another good thing there too, you may be a welcoming space that you're creating so that they can realize Christians can be safe, but you don't have to be the one that shares the gospel overtly with them. It might be through developing relationships with other streamers that you point them to that they resonate with, they connect with, and they come to discover or want to spend more time asking questions later.
And I feel like in an American culture, I can't speak for other cultures, but we really have to, at this point, especially with the history of the church, we have to earn the right as the church, as Christians, to speak things into people's lives, really.
Yep.
And so building that community of like, hey, not all Christians are like this. We can be safe. We do love you. Building in that trust and that right to then speak truth and to actually share those things and have those hard conversations. And so I feel like for my cake channel, very much it's a ambassador of that portion of the initial building of relationship, of safety, of establishing that place.
Yeah. I'm just thinking with that, and welcome in Supersonic and King Tan. Welcome in, guys. Just thinking about that, do you end up with a lot of trolls coming into your stream as a cake? Because I don't know if trolls show up to the cake channel to try to cause havoc and chaos. I mean, they show up everywhere else, it seems like.
I mean, if you count Tony Snark as a troll.
Okay, I'm not looking for friendly trolls. I'm thinking hostile people that, are really there to,
Not really. I've been very blessed in that I've been spared a lot of that, which is very surprising, especially as a female on Twitch. I feel like the harassment is a lot worse for women.
Yeah.
I mean, even on my gaming channel, like I've not experienced any of that. I had one problem person for a while that eventually was banned. And that's like pretty much it. I've had, the occasional weird person kind of come in, but I've never had any major harassment, major like trolling problems. Okay. Which I'm really grateful for in that. And I think it helps, at least on the cake side, being very niche. It's not as like front facing. So it's a little bit off the radar of some of those people, I think.
Yeah, I'm one of those weird people that looks for those niche spots. And I probably have, and you probably know them, I'd have to pull them up to look at their names, but I probably have about 4 or 5 people that do cakes that I follow. I don't get to watch them that often. They're not on the times.
There's very few of us.
Yeah, there's very few, but I think I've found about 4 or 5 that are out there. And
I think that's all there is, honestly.
That might be all there is.
That I have found. Yeah, I only know, personally, I know if there's me, Kelly Cakes.
Kelly Cakes, yep.
Oh gosh, her name is slipping my mind, but she's in Australia. And then I've seen a German woman, and hers are all completely in German.
I've not seen her then. I've not seen the German one. And some of them might just be they bake occasionally, or they do more baking. But yeah. But Kelly Cakes is...
Yeah, those ones are exclusive cake only. Kelly Cakes, Julia, it's Julia, baked by Julia, and then the German woman. Those are all exclusively cake decorators like myself. And those are the only people I have ever found that are only cake decorators.
Yeah, thinking about it, if it's cake only or baking anything, so it makes a difference. But yeah, it's like it's so niche, but I think it's so fun in regards to that. So you talked about you do have a separate channel. So when and why did you decide you need a separate channel instead of just saying, well, I'm just going to game on this channel? Or what was that process for moving and doing something different?
So after a while, after about a year or two, I started having like the itch of like, oh, I do want to play games. Like it seems really fun. And I think I did at least one gaming stream on this channel. Originally, it wasn't even called Annika's Cakery. It was just like Annika 22. I tried doing like one or two gaming streams, and I mean almost instantly I lost like 20 to 30 follows, and I learned that lesson very quickly. I was like, okay, this is not what people follow me for. Got it. And I was like, okay, I just want to do gaming. And then it was a while later that I was like, well, what if I just made a separate channel? And then people who want to bounce from this community over to that one and have both of them, they can. And then I kind of just get the best of both worlds, and I can play games, and then I can just keep them separate. And I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it for the longest time. And then one day I just sat down and was like, screw it, I'm going to do it. I pulled out my laptop, I made the account, I spent like 2 hours, and then man, I had an account, I had like everything all set up, and I was like, we're going to do this. So yeah, it was definitely to like try to respect the community that I already had. Because I've seen some creators do that swap, especially in a partner push, like, oh, we swap from arts, like crafting, suddenly to playing paleo all the time. And it was such an intense shift. Like, I don't watch them anymore because it really completely changed the dynamic of the community to begin with. And I was like, well, so that's what I was about to do. I'm glad I didn't do that.
Yeah, that's interesting that you had a lot of loss of follows. I had when, 2 years ago, I thought, I've been reading the Bible in the morning. That's what I do. Okay, let me try playing a game. A new game's come out. I'm going to love this game. I'm going to see if I can do it. And I picked a whole different time and streamed for like 3-4 hours later in the day on Monday, 3-4 hours on Tuesday. My community didn't show up, but I didn't get any losses of follows. Like, hey, we're not going to follow you anymore. They're just like, hey, we're not watching you to watch you play games. That's not why we're hanging out. And then I was trying to work it into a new community. It did not cause me to gain any, it's like, so I did that for 3 months, and I'm like, yep, that didn't work. I need to do other stuff with my time than to try to make that happen. But that's interesting that you had people that just like, no, I'm going to unfollow because I don't want the other content. Because my thought would be, there's so few people doing cake that it would be like, I still want to follow you, so when you do a cake, I'll show up. I'll just look at what your title is and decide if you're doing a cake or not. So that's interesting that they unfollowed.
Yeah, I mean, but I've seen it with other more niche creators who they go for like trying to get bigger numbers. They try to, go that success path, try to get that, partner, get that check mark and all those things. And they find like, oh, I can get some better numbers if I'm playing like paleo, like the best.
Right.
Because that was like the way for a while for a lot of people. And it was like, less and less of the niche stream that a lot of people who watch like those niche streams, I have found that there's a good chunk of them that like that's what they watch on Twitch. They're not interested in the gaming side of things. They're interested in the art streams and the IRL and those ones. And so then seeing that, it sounds like a really harsh word, but it's the best word I can think of, that betrayal of the category.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, she's going to turn into one of those. So I can see why that would happen.
Yeah, I could see that.
It felt like that.
Yeah. Well, with reading the Bible, there really wasn't fully a category when I started doing that.
Yeah.
Then somebody at one point said, why aren't you streaming under this category? I'm like, what do you mean? Well, you should be under the Holy Bible. I'm like, well, I looked Bible up and nothing showed up. You mean I have to call it the Holy Bible? And like, I'm not streaming under that category. Nobody's walking around looking for that category. So it's like, no, I'm under just chatting, because half of my stream is just chatting anyway. I read and then I ramble on and do whatever else. So, so how often are you balancing between those two? Well, how do you figure that out to say, well, here's how often I can bake? And I know it's going to change, as you move and do those things. And you were talking about getting schedules. So how do you find a harmony for the community that's both and the communities that are both separate to say, here's when you'll find me here and here's when you'll find me over there?
It's helpful having my Discord so I can put out like a set schedule for everybody every week. I try to be good about it. I'm not always the greatest about it. But like, hey, on this channel, we're live at this time. This is what I'm going to be doing on this channel, live at this time. This is what we're doing. And I've got 3 different channels I'm live on. throughout the week. So it's like, it helps the Discord for those who want to know like what's going on everywhere. But for actually deciding like how much I am on each one, there's really a physical component because I have a condition called ehlers-danlos syndrome. So for me, making cakes is painful. It's an art, but it's pain. So I can only do so much at a time. And then on top of it, like this last year, I've only been doing it as a hobby. It's purely been for stream. So then there's the financial aspect. I'm not having people paying me for the cost of cakes. I don't know if anybody's looked at the grocery store lately, but cake ingredients are very expensive.
Yes.
So yeah, so at least for this last year, it's been dictated by my schedule. I've had a lot going on, but then physical component and the cost. So it's been once a week has been the cake stream, where whatever I have felt like making or doing or have the energy to do is done on that day. And then the gaming has settled out to twice a week. For a while it was 3 days a week, but now it's just the twice. And then I'm part of a D&D stream crew, and so that's also another day of the week.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I didn't know the third stream that you're at a D&D
Yeah,
crew.
I'm kind of in a lot of places. There's the Cake channel, the gaming channel, Campfires and Dragons, which is associated with the Campfire Ministries. We're still kind of new and figuring ourselves out, but very excited about that. That's also got its own channel that I will start to be in that as well more. And then you can also catch my face singing on theChurch.digital almost every week. So I'm kind of in about 5 different places now. Coming next year, it'll be about 5 places.
Yeah. Well, it's one thing to just show up in like Lux. You're not streaming that. Lux is streaming.
Yeah, that's pre-recorded.
That's different than a participation in something. Then you are running 3 different channels or 5 channels, and I'm like going, I thought I'm one of the weirdos with 3 channels out there, you know?
Nah, I'll be on 4 come next year. So.
Well, I've been on the gaming, what is it? Save Games podcast numerous times. I'm on there, but I've never co-streamed that one. I just show up and let it happen. I'm like, you grab me, you do all the stuff. I'll just hang out and enjoy that. But I'm still looking to do more and expand what's already happening. And so I don't know. There's something about podcasting that I'm like, for a long time, I thought, I have nothing to add to the conversation. Now I'm starting to find, what do I have to add to the conversation? And it's like, I really think some of the things like, hey, what if, and I'm just going to say this, what if there are someone who comes across this and says, I love baking cakes, I love cooking, or I love making cookies, and they're going to be the cookie channel, but they didn't know it was possible. And they didn't know it was possible to, you know what, I also sing. So maybe I'll sing Christmas carols while I'm making Christmas cookies and I'll bring people joy. Like, what if that's what you did? And instead of being home alone and isolated, you know, especially if you're a retiree and you baked and that's what you love doing, or your kids are now out of the house and you're a stay-at-home mom and now the kids are out of the house, or you're just a stay-at-home mom with nothing to do during the day till the kids get home. Like, you could be going and spending time with people and streaming and bringing the love of Christ to them. It's like, I hope someone like that just wanders across this and thinks, I didn't know that spending time in the kitchen could be spending time with people who I've never met in person. And I just think that's such a wonderful thing that we could give to people. So I hope someone finds that and just gets excited and you find out about it later. And because you were on here, they decided that they're going to give it a try or encourage someone else they know to give it a try.
It's so fun, and I'm so glad I did it. Like, it's been worth all the work.
Yeah, and it is work. And so let's just kind of shift a little bit and talk about what have been obstacles, 2 or 3 obstacles that you have faced in your journey of being a Twitch streamer. They could be things that happened that got in the way of you being able to effectively stream. They could be things that happened in real life that caused, you know, problems where you weren't able to stream all the time, or they could just be life change, or they could be something that happened that was some, you know, trolls or that kind of a thing that whatever it is. What are some obstacles that you've had to deal with as being a Christian Twitch streamer and being in the space and just being an inviting, welcoming space?
So there's 2 that immediately come to mind. The main one is a consistent problem for me, will continue to be a problem for me. And unfortunately, is about to be another really big problem. And that's with my moving all the time. So I'm always shifting time zones. So it's hard to
I hadn't thought about the time zone
super long
piece. Yeah,
term.
that makes sense.
Yeah, I went from being in the same time zone as Australia to being Eastern Standard Time, which is quite a big jump. So I went from, my streams were all nighttime streams for the States because they were daytime for me. I would stream in the morning. And then for my gaming streams, it was like I'd stream it in the morning and then I'd like have my lunch and then go about the rest of my day. And then switching to here, it's like it's an actual nighttime stream and I'm up late. Oh boy. And the cake streams are no longer night streams. They're afternoon streams. They're at this time. And so people having to like adjust and myself adapt, but then my community adapt of like, okay, slightly different times. Can I make it and everything? And then our next time zone is going to be significantly worse. It's going to be almost impossible for probably most of my community to come to my streams. And that's really freaking hard. I think that's the biggest one. That's been the biggest struggle. And then coming into this next year is going to be the even hardest struggle. Like I have the feeling that, that average number drop is going to, be way down. I'm going to have to probably build a whole new community essentially, which sucks, but it's also like, okay, well, there's people in a different time zone now that I can meet and I can get to know. It's just that you having to go through the being a new streamer process all over again.
Right. It really,
with channels that are like 4 years old.
Yeah, I had not thought through fully. I mean, I know, and this is one of the things that working globally really is a thing, that time zones are more important to when you're doing things than exactly where you live on the globe. It's the time zone issue that's more important. Even a matter of East Coast versus West Coast when you're streaming, 3-hour time difference makes a huge difference. I have friends who start streaming when their kids go to bed at night and they're Pacific time. Well, when their kids are going to bed, I'm already been in bed for an hour or two. So, it's like they're putting their kids to bed at 8 or 9 o'clock at night, but I'm East Coast, so I've already been in bed since 10 p.m. They start streaming and go till my time, 3 in the morning. It's only midnight for them. So it's like, I'm not staying up and watching you. I ran across you. At one point you were streaming earlier or I was later or you stayed up late and got to know you. And it's like, wow, even a 3-hour time zone difference can become a burden when you're going halfway around the world and flip-flopping your schedule to morning to evening and now moving another, let's call it 6-8 hours, whatever it is, the difference, and trying to do that again. You're right. There is both the loss and grief, and I want to identify this, loss and grief of community that won't be there for you and for the community. There's going to be a real loss and grief that people will go through, including you, but there's also opportunity of meeting new people and streaming to new people that never were able to catch you because you were on at the wrong time for them. Yeah, that's a real thing. I'm glad you shared that.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting transition and change. So dreading it a little bit, but excited at the same time. That would be the consistent issue that I have been facing and will always face, I guess. But the other one was for a good chunk of time, because we lived on the island of Guam out in the Pacific, tiny little island.
Yeah.
And we had a super typhoon so we were without power for a month, no water for 2 weeks. It was really fun. We lived in a hotel for about two and a half weeks. And so then I didn't get to stream for a month, obviously. My community knew what was happening throughout the storm. I was texting pictures and videos and all of that. But afterwards, after that month was over and internet were getting fixed, Guam is just special. The internet was not getting fixed for us. It was 7 months of our internet not getting fixed properly. Our internet was already pretty bad there anyway. Not having the greatest quality stream was just the norm for me.
Yeah.
But this was unstreamable levels of bad.
Yeah.
And it took 7 months and an FCC complaint to finally it got elevated all the way to an official FCC complaint in order to get our Wi-Fi fixed and for me to be able to stream again. It was really bad. So that was like a really rough point because I just wanted to get back to, I had my gaming channel by that point too. And I was like, I want to game again. I want to like stream cakes. There was a couple cakes I made off stream, which was really weird because I didn't have the internet, but I had orders. And so it was a long 7 months that was really infuriating to sit through.
Wow. I'm just trying to think through that I mean, like on some level, I've traveled a whole lot in the fall here as we're going through October, November. At one point, I don't think I was home for more than 5 days in a row for a period of 45 days. And it was just like, okay, I'm not home. So I got to squeeze a stream in here, bring my stuff with best intentions to stream while I'm out and traveling, and then internet doesn't work or something else happens and you're just like, sorry, stream, doesn't work or start to get a cold. You're like, well, I should sleep in and try to get healthy. So as I'm traveling, I can't even fathom 7 months of no streaming. So then let me ask you this. Through that whole time, were you so much committed to streaming again that it didn't matter how long it took, that you're like, I'm going to stream as soon as I can? Or was there part of that journey that was like, is it even worth it to go back to streaming if it's been so long? Because it'll be like starting over at zero.
I was worried about it being like starting over at zero, but I didn't expect to love streaming as much as I do. Like, I love it and I want to stream for as long as I possibly can. It's really fun and I've made some amazing friends through it. And so I was just like, I was very impatient. I was ready for the internet to get fixed. There was a couple times I tried with the internet that we did have and it just went horribly and was really upsetting. And I was worried about it kind of like completely derailing things really badly. But I was grateful that it really didn't. There were people who were just really happy that I was back. Like they knew what was going on. Again, that's where like the Discord is a blessing.
The Discord community,
People to post in there. Yeah. Like they all knew like, hey, it's still not fixed. Oh, maybe it's fixed now. And the complaints of the Wi-Fi were definitely heavy in the Discord. So yeah, I definitely had a handful of people who like they were patiently waiting just for things to get fixed and come back. And so I'm really grateful to them for that. So
yeah. Did you have, because you said you had the Super Typhoon, did you also have other losses besides internet with your home, with your equipment that you were streaming with, that it might have gotten, damaged or anything? You didn't have any other loss, just the accessibility that was the problem. Okay.
Yeah. There was no power for a month and no water for 2 weeks. With the power, we got to stay in a hotel for like 2.5 weeks of that. Maybe it was closer to 3. I don't really remember. But buildings on Guam are built for things like a Super Typhoon. They're solid concrete. A lot of people had a lot of flooding problems.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Flooding, you can't control, what gets damaged with that.
Yeah, we didn't really, we had like a little bit of water here and there, but we had nothing significant or major in any way, which I was really grateful for. The one thing that we did have to be on top of, which I'm so grateful for my husband, Anika, because he, especially once we were in the hotel, he was back at the house every single day, like spraying down everything in the house with vinegar to keep our house from molding, because we had mold starting to grow on the floors, on our dining table, on furniture, and we lost a single end table, and that was it, because he was there every day for a month spraying our house with vinegar to keep the mold away.
Yeah, I've done hurricane cleanup and disaster cleanup, and yeah, you've got to keep on top of those things. I thought I might have finally gotten rid of the cough that I got at Reach Conference. Started to come back. Yeah. So that's my first cough drop of the day. So I'm feeling pretty good that I've made it this far. Usually the hot tea is usually pretty good on my throat and helps and good. But at some point, I'm just talking too much. So, that happens.
That'll do it.
Well, let's supersonic go and spot of tea. I have that on my other channel because I always have tea. You can redeem a spot of tea. Since you asked a spot of tea, I am drinking matcha right now. So I'm enjoying a nice matcha today. So I don't usually drink that one.
I do not like stewed leaves and twigs. Thank you.
I'm good with pretty much anything that's steeped. I even go collect my own flowers and things around to brew my own tea. So I've harvested thistle and black nettle, goldenrod, lavender, I don't have any hibiscus. I drink that, but I haven't harvested that. So those are all things I've harvested.
There's this great drink though that's like it's made from beans and they're fermented and then dried. They grind them up into a powder and you put it with some milk. And I'm not talking about coffee. I'm talking about hot chocolate.
Yeah, I knew. As soon as you said grind them up, I knew you weren't going with coffee. Yeah, there's plenty of take a plant and brew it. That's what I do. Just take a plant, vegetable, and turn it into a beverage. That's what I'm going to do.
So we just need to make you some spinach tea. Got it.
You know, I haven't made everything into tea because I also do wine. And so, you know, it's like brew it in one way or another. You know, you're brewing it a tea, brew it a coffee. And I know true tea is only from a certain plant. Everything else isn't a tea. Chamomile's not really tea. I don't care.
Interesting.
There's tea snobs out there. So I'm just, you know, speaking to them. Just like wine is only wine if it's made from grapes. Everything else is really country wine. It's not a real wine because you have to have grapes. Yeah, like there's people that get into that kind of stuff. So I don't want to upset anybody for no reason. But, you know, if I upset you, I want to be intentional about upsetting you. That's kind of my motto. So, yeah, I could go down that route of all the different things and stuff, but we're not here to talk about me and me cooking and brewing. They'll have to show up to my next cooking stream. I don't know when that'll be, but we'll see. Well, let's flip that around and go the other direction. What have been some blessings that you personally have experienced as a streamer that were unexpected? And then what are some things that have happened in your community that's been a blessing as being a streamer?
The people Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's just like the biggest blessing, and that is just making great friends and getting to meet new people and have that interaction has been like the best and like my favorite part and what keeps me coming back. I'm trying to think of like specifics. It's kind of hard to pinpoint specifics. I'm just such an extrovert and love being able to talk to people that like that's just the big thing really for me. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like any specific situation, but I mean I feel like just having been able to here's something. So it's really nice to have a community and a set of friends that I don't have to leave because I'm a military spouse. We move all the time. I'm always saying goodbye to my friends, whether they move or I move. I'm always saying goodbye to my churches. I'm always having to restart, make new friends, refigure it out, which I'm an extrovert, so it's fine. Like you get used to it, but it still isn't fun. It still hurts. There's still a lot of crying and tears. But with streaming, minus maybe this move, I generally have the same community. I have the same people. I don't really have to say goodbye to them. I know they're going to pop in chat at some point, or they're in my Discord or in another mutual Discord. So I think that would probably be the biggest blessing is just there's now a level of stability I can now have because I've not had that pretty much most of my life growing up a missionary kid. And then now a military spouse, it's a lot of instability in church and in friendships. So it's really nice to know that like the friends that I have, I can have them for as long as I want and I don't have to say goodbye to them.
I think that's a really valuable thing to think about there for lots of people who have that kind of life. And as a pastor, that's what my kids had. I'll just pick on my middle son because his story is funnier to share. So he was 5 years old when we moved states to go to seminary. He was 10 years old when we moved states to go to my first call. And then when he was 13, he said, where are we moving in 2 years? Because his brain just was, we move every 5 years to a new state. So he wanted to start brainstorming about what state it was. He was wrong. We moved when he was 14. So he was 14 when we moved to a new state. He graduated from high school and he moved to a new state. So his entire life was that constant move. Now, he didn't end up graduating from there. He moved back to home to Michigan where we are now, but he preceded moving back here where he was born to go to college for 4 years. And so he was there for 3.5, moved into my basement during COVID, lived here for 2-3 years. And now he and his brother are down the road in a house that his brother owns, and he's been there for about 3 years. He's never lived anywhere more than 5 years his entire life. So What does someone like that do to hold on and to keep friends? You have social media that can help that. It's not as good as a Discord community, though. You have to be really intentional in other spaces. So while you're saying is you might lose some live time with people watching you, those who have moved over to Discord and are in that Discord communities with you, that community can go with you every time that you move going forward. And I just think that's a fascinating thing that most people haven't come across. They haven't discovered. They might say, oh, I've got Facebook friends, but you don't actually usually spend time with them chatting. Yep. You do it asynchronously, or you just watch each other's posts and that's about all it is. Or maybe you do some Discord messaging, but that's not much different than text messaging. But if you're out of sight, you're out of mind is what happens. I've experienced with a lot of places as I've moved is I'm no longer in the community. I gradually get thought of less and less. The communication reduces and reduces. But a place like Discord where I can stay active in the community with other people, I think that's a blessing. I hope that it really stays that way when you make this next move.
It's like a virtual town because it's kind of interesting because you can only handle so many really close friendships. With Discord, it's like being in a virtual town and you have some people you're closer with than others, people you DM a lot or people you DM a little bit or you're only in like general chats with. And not all of those people are people you're like super close with and super invested with. It's like take IRL relationships, the spectrum, but then just boil it down into a virtual world is how it feels.
Yes, absolutely.
Because when you move all the time and you're saying goodbye to people, you can't really maintain those friendships long term because it's a lot of extra work on top to maintain it online. And I have a few people, I have a little book somewhere behind me that I have like very set few people that I've met over the years that I'm like, okay, no, you're in this book because I'm going to actually do the work and do the investment and keep talking to you and maintain you. But that's a lot more work. And that's one of those, like, this is one of those key friendships I keep.
Right.
Discord leaves that open to stay. It's like, oh yeah, this is like my community center. I still go hang out there. It's still my church. I can have my casual friendships, my close friendships, and it doesn't require most of the time quite as much energy unless it's one of those closer friendships.
Yeah. Well, even at that, it requires the other party to also put the work into it. And I find at times I put much more work into trying to maintain friendships and relationships than sometimes the other party does, or it lowers to a level of this is all it can be to maintain friendship. I'm not going to hang out with you. I don't get to hang out with you. You won't come to. I try to coordinate. It doesn't work. It becomes less and less. And it's like, well, here's the minimum of where it is. And I would certainly want more, which I think is one of those things that I find so fascinating about being in Discord community. I thought this was so interesting. I don't know if you had the same experience when we were at Reach, but it was like, oh my goodness, there were a whole bunch of people here. I've never actually been in their stream, but I've been in Discord community with them. And there's a whole bunch of people in here that I've been in a Discord call with, but I've never actually had a one-on-one chat with them. It was like, this is like, I'm in community with a bunch of people. It's kind of like I was thinking about how, like at school, you might know of people and they're in your same class with you and you see them all the time, but you never actually had a conversation with them. Or they were in the same school and you knew who they were because they were class president or vice president. And I was like, wait a minute, I get to actually hang out with you for a minute? It was like super weird kind of thing. And I think that's the best way I could relate it was kind of like those kind of things. It was like, wow, I didn't realize this till I was physically present with some people to go, wait, we've never actually talked, have we?
Yeah. That was like I had that moment with Aki of like, I don't think I've ever been in like a one-on-one VC or just like not stream like conversation really with him before. And it was like I got to meet him in person and chat with him for a little bit. And then we had him on Campfires and Dragons. He played one of our villains a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, it was like, I know you. I've been in your stream. Like, you know who I am. You've been in my stream before. But like, we've never actually had this like moment. And that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is kind of cool. Like I had a few of those too that were like that. I don't think you and I had ever had a one-on-one conversation unless it was just a chat in Discord. We hadn't jumped on a call together. It's like Or like you're the friends of the friends that you hang out with and you see, but you never, like all of a sudden it's like, all right, the two of us are together. We've never chatted. We've only ever had a third person around when we were together. But it's like, hey, wait, you are cool. Yeah, I know why everyone hangs out with you.
I remember reaching, I spotted you. I was like, it's Flat Cap. I have to talk to him because he's cool.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I've always thought I was cool. Like, okay, my stream knows this. I don't know if I've shared
Clip
it.
that, chat. Clip that.
I don't know if I've shared it on this podcast, but when I was growing up and everybody was trying to be and copy everyone else and it's like, oh, I've got to fit in. I got to be like everyone else. And I was like, no, you're supposed to be like me. Like, I don't want to be like you. I want to be me, and you should want to be me as well. Like, so, yeah, I know. I have that streak in me that, and every once in a while I will verbalize it. I mean, it's always there in the back of my mind, which is why I have no problem. And I have lots of hats that nobody else has, is because I didn't want to be like you. And I'll tease my stream every once in a while when somebody comes on and talks about, I have a hat like that too. And I'm like, well, you can't have too many of them. That's my thing. You can't have more. Supersonic. To be honest, I'm picky who and what you watch, and often don't like watching shooter games. Oh, well, that makes sense too. I just don't enjoy those, so I don't watch them that often. I don't have a problem with them. They're just not the genre that I'm going to play. But I do think that if you are intentionally saying this is not for me, it might be detrimental or not something I want to expose myself to. That makes sense too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but can I pull hat tricks? I've never played hockey. I'm sorry, I've never played hockey. I would not be doing any hat tricks. So
you're not gonna pull a rabbit out of your hat?
Oh, I thought he meant hockey. A hat trick is getting 3 goals.
I'm pretty sure he meant magic.
Okay.
Because at least that's where my mind went. I went straight to a rabbit coming out of a hat.
I went to hockey, I guess. I don't know.
That's a hockey thing?
Yes.
I don't know anything about hockey.
Okay. If you get 3 goals in a game, it's called a hat trick. So when he said pull a hat trick, my brain just went to hockey because
That's fair. That makes sense.
He could have been talking magic, but they're the wrong kinds of hats. They in themselves are all the magic that they need.
Those are fun hats. I do like that style of hat.
Yeah, I do like this is one of the things, like I am so excited to live right now because I can get them all over the place. They're accessible. Growing up, they were hard to find. I'd hang on to a hat for 10 years before I could find another hat. So pull a badger.
I feel like I need to get that style of hat because I have like a hat redeem because I do have a collection of hats for my gaming channel, but I don't have a flat cap. Now I feel like I need to get a flat cap, and when people redeem it, be like, "Oh, would you like me to do my flat cap pastor impersonation?"
You can do an impersonation. There you go. Well, there is a Village Hat Company. If you just like hats in general, Village Hat Company's fantastic. They're out in San Diego, and they're online. But if you just want flat caps, Boston Scully is a really nice company, which I've got several there, and then I've got others as well. Actually, I'm wearing a Boston Scully right now. So they name their hats. So actually, let me just look and see what this one is. I don't remember the name. Oh, this is the Lunchbox.
Nice.
So they have a different name for each hat, which is a little pretentious, but I'm good with that. I'm fine with that. So, yes.
But I mean, if they've made it their thing.
They made it their thing. Actually, we went to Boston a couple of years ago, and there were flat caps all over town everywhere. And my wife's like, so do you feel different here with all these other people that have hats and they're all around? And I'm like going, no, they're just all copying me. I've been doing this for a long time. So we were like, I love the little side things that just happen. Who knows where the conversation's going to go.
This is what happens with my gaming channel. Yeah. I get derailed, squirreled all the time.
What you call them squirrels, my channel, I call them rabbit trails, because we come back to the conversation where it was when we're done. So it's not just a side quest and we're gone. So we'll return. So we were talking.
Yeah, you're lucky if I remember what I was talking about.
But it's like, this is what you do with friends. You just talk about whatever's next and you go to the next thing. The gaming channel has one reel. There we go.
And that's one of our viewers, not even a rail to keep us on track.
There you go. So we were talking about some of the difficult things and the blessing. So we were talking about blessing, and the blessing you were talking about, with the community. And when you move, you don't lose fully community that you've had. So it's not always start over from zero again, which I tremendously think is a blessing, because I have moved a lot in my life too. And I feel like if I have another move with my wife right now, entirely opposed to a move, trying to think of I'm 9 years living in this house, which is the longest I've lived anywhere in my life. So before that was 6 years. So I've made it 50% longer than any place else I've ever lived in my life. So it's kind of like I'm on a streak now. I might as well see how long I can make it stick.
Going, yeah.
Yeah. But what are some other blessings that you've experienced being on Twitch, being in streamer community, that maybe you weren't expecting, or maybe somebody else in your community experienced?
I think of actually the Rail reference from Z, okay. Captain Rail. He has been part of my cake stream community from the absolute beginning, pretty much. That first cake I mentioned, he joined partway through that project. So he wasn't there for the first one, but he was there near the end. And so he's been around for almost 4 years now. Channel will be 4 years in February, I think.
Okay.
And yeah, so he's been around for a very long time, but he was just starting his journey with some really painful nerve pain and medical issues around the time he found my stream.
Okay.
And he has talked about the stream being a blessing to him of like a safe and calm space as he goes through these attacks of extreme pain that he suffers with. Be able to be, that friend space, that comfortable space, that calm area as he kind of adapted to that new life and also moved cross country and all of that. So that one, I hold on to that story a lot.
Oh yeah.
Because that brings me stories like that make it all worth it for me. And like I had another community member who's not interested in Christianity at all, but she told her mother once that like, oh, Annika's one of the good ones, when her mom mentioned that I had Christian music playing. And like that, I legitimately almost started crying on stream when she said that, because that made it all worth it of, man, she doesn't like Christians, but she feels safe being in my community and getting to know me.
Yeah, totally goes along with what you were saying, is you're trying to create that space for people to have a positive experience where maybe a lot of their other experiences or their information is to the contrary of that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's been stories like that have been big blessings and have made like, the days that are harder worth it, of like, man, okay, feeling uncomfortable when I'm trying to like stream and I feel like I'm not doing a great job, or the internet's being terrible, or I don't get to stream for 7 months. And then someone says like, oh, this has helped me. I had someone not that long ago mention that my streams have helped them through their eating disorder by watching me make cakes. And I had no idea, because they're a lurker.
Did they say more how it helped?
I think if I remember right, it was, that exposure of like positive relationship with food, and then the exposure to it. But they were mostly a lurker. Like they were not someone who chatted all the time. I think it was one of their first time chatting like with me, really, that in my channel, that they were telling me this. I was just like, I don't even know you. And I've done this. What?
Well, and I think that's one of like, I think that's one thing I want to emphasize that I've really been thinking about in the last month, that I don't think every streamer has thought through. Lurkers are vital, and I already have in my community, lurk is love. And some of that was just like an emote and, hey, welcome in, and hey, I want you to be a part of this, and also just realizing that you need lurkers to get your numbers up. So I was going from that standpoint. But you're talking about, and I've had 2 or 3 times similar things where people have been in the community for a long time, but have not been courageous enough, or in an environment that allows them to raise their hand and type in the chat and say anything. And when they do, you realize they've been around a long time, and it has been a blessing to them, even if they never say it. And that's one of the things that's hard, is going, you know what? Some people might hang out and never say anything, and you still could be a blessing to them. So I love that you're saying, like,
Yeah.
here's a memory I hold on to, because I think that's a vital thing. When you have a day that doesn't feel like your stream went well, and I don't know if I should keep doing this, or nobody's showing up, or I'm trying to do collabs and nobody wants to collab with me, or I can't quite make it to partner, like whatever it is, the obstacle. It's those stories of things that's like, I would give up streaming if I just had that moment. Like, I would stream for another 20 years with no one watching if I had that moment. Like, either extreme, like, to know that I participated in that is just such a super blessing. That's awesome. You've had a couple of those kind of moments of people where meeting them right where they are in life. That's only about your presence, not necessarily about what you're streaming.
Yeah, it makes everything worth it, and it's so special when people tell you, and I don't know, sometimes I don't know that people always realize, like, whether you're telling it to a streamer or you're telling someone just in your regular life, if someone has impacted you, tell them.
Yes.
Because you have no idea how you just telling them will impact them and encourage them and give them the strength to keep going and doing the things that they're doing. Because we can so often walk through life thinking I'm maybe a terrible Christian because, like, I'm just not doing enough, or I'm not a good enough friend, or, fill in the blank. They just don't feel like they're hitting some mark that they have in their mind. And then all it takes is a friend or a viewer or someone to say, hey, you doing this regularly has made me feel this way, and it's helped me through this thing that for you means a lot, but you have no idea how much it could also mean for that other person. And so I've really appreciated anytime someone's told me that kind of stuff, because as much as I was able to help them just telling me that I did that builds me up and does something very special for me as well. So I think it's really important that we all do that for other people, because that's a way of giving back, a way of giving back a little bit of that love that the other people showed us. So yeah.
Absolutely. And we got a few more people jumping in, whether they've been here a while or not, I'm not sure. But Bootstrap's Boots coming in. And Luce is showing up too, putting the lurk is love emotes in the chat. And Supersonic, I think, agreeing with you. We don't realize how much of an impact God makes through our words, actions. See the newest DM, for example. At church, we are celebrating recovery on Friday night. What is shared in a small group stays there, but what people say there, each person can often learn, reflect from, even if it's not something you said yourself. So yeah, like small group impact can be vital, but you can't always share that with other people. And then when you're not there, it's sometimes hard to remember those things.
I mean, even in this conversation, I'm going to grab something from right behind me real quick.
Okay.
This is reminding me, and I need to be good about this because I've been really bad at it for like a few years, because Guam was a very difficult time. So I went through a bit of a rough patch in Guam, but I need to go back and like put some things in here. And I feel like I would encourage anyone who's watching, just doesn't matter if you're a streamer or not, but also streamers too, especially Christian streamers, like to do something like this. I have this like little journal book, and I have written in here, like, I'm careful about what I put in here, but I put down times when like I feel like God has used me, or someone has said that God has used me. I write down that experience in here in this book, so that when I happen upon it, when I'm moving, for example, or just if I think of it and I know I'm having a hard time and feeling like I'm a failure and I'm not doing enough, I'm not doing this Christian thing right, I can go back to this journal, because it's like, well, these were all things that I undeniably knew God did, and ways that I was used, and I can read through them again. Like, I've got like cards from people who have said that, like, a prayer was definitely from God that I spoke over them once, or just different things. And I have them, I've only got a few pages in, but this journal has been such a helpful thing and a helpful tool that I would encourage anyone to use, because I need to put, with the stories I just told you, I need to put those down. I haven't written them in here. And that's a failure on my part. So I'm going to leave this on my desk so that after this, I'm going to sit down and do that. So that when there are the difficult days, I don't have to rely on my poor memory, because we know from the Israelites that our memories are garbage.
Well, yeah. And we also sometimes intentionally try to forget things that we don't want to remember. So.
Yeah. So, yeah, I need to do that. And I would encourage anyone else to start writing down the things that God does, so that you can be encouraged in the dark times.
Yeah. Another way to also do that is when you're writing prayer, keep a prayer journal. So you're writing your prayer request in there, and then you can remember to put the answer in. That's really important too, when you're going back, and that's something you can like pass on to like your kids or grandkids kind of a thing, like if you do something like that. Now, the writing things down, reflective thing, that's not my personality. I'm going to just like shortchange it. I've at most done it when I've gone on mission trips. Like I go on a mission trip and I can do some reflective things throughout the trip and write it down. That's about the only time I've found it that I can fit it into. I'll do it. But I've gone from the standpoint of I tell the story often and going to the point of I want to start making videos sharing the story. So I'm going with a more public-facing approach to the experiences I've had and sharing, like we were just talking about, like I want to make the video to share about it. I'm going to be on stream. I'm going to share about it. Then I'll clip it so it can get shared again and again with more people about what's going on and having those things going on so I don't forget those things. Mega Snorlax X, welcome in, first time. You have what your mom calls selective memory. You remember everything video game related. You forget everything responsibility related.
I feel that.
I love how you worded that. Video game related. Can remember responsibility. What? I'm supposed to do that? Yeah, I wasn't supposed to do that. It's not my responsibility. Oh, that's a fun way to put it. Thank you for coming in and joining in. Glad you're here. We're just having a nice chat about doing stuff in Twitch and being a Christian and moving in those spaces. So thinking again with you moving, I know you were at Reach Conference this year. And if you want to talk about Reach Conference, we can pivot and talk about that as well. Do you anticipate being able to go there next year, if you're going to be not in the U.S. for a while again, that'd be something you'd be able to do? Or is it going to be, no, you're going to be away for quite a while and you're going to not be able to be in person with people?
So that was a really tough thing, which was so fun. And it was exciting. I also realized how few people I actually knew. So it was very scary at the same time. Reach was super fun and such a great time. And I was like, I want to do this again. I want to make more than just cupcakes next time. I want to make a cool, like, massive cake for it. Like I told Romans, I was like, I want to make a cake next year. Pretty please. And we talked a little bit about it. And it was also like, if I can come, because it's, it's the plane ticket's going to be like a grand. It's going to be like $1,000.
Yeah.
And after Reach and then kind of like the week following, I was kind of looking at like, okay, how much can I save up per month to then lead up to being able to buy a ticket, and looking at it like, I can't, I am unable to save that amount, and starting to realize like, okay, I probably can't. I need to start accepting that and moving forward with it. And it was upsetting. And then I was like, well, I don't ever try to push like subscriptions or bits or anything like that on my channels. I don't like it. This is just my own personal thing. I don't have judgment on the other people, but I don't feel comfortable with it personally. I have most of my community cannot afford those things, so I don't do anything to push those. So I was like, well, sometimes people sub, sometimes, I get a little something. So like maybe if something happens, maybe some of that money can go towards it. And then I can also be saving up my own money. We can just see. And so I was like, oh, I'll make like a little goal counter and I'll put it on the stream. And as I'm saving up my own money, put it up, increase it. And as like I get the occasional payout, I can put that amount in there. I didn't announce the goal. I didn't talk about it. I just kind of put it there. But speaking of trolls, Tony Snark came in that first stream. And this is another one of those really sweet blessings of he instigated chaos, utter chaos, extreme chaos that resulted in like about $350 of that goal in a single stream, which was crazy. And I then looked at like what I can save up and what that 300 goes to, how much that covers. And I was like, oh, now I can do this. It was like, yeah, I mean, barring any like major issues, I should be able to afford it. And it was so nice for Tony to just be so sweet like that, to be like, no, you have to come back. And I'm going to make sure you come back. And the community coming alongside him and helping out in that. So I should be there. That's my plan.
Awesome.
I will hopefully be making a massive, massive cake. But yeah, I intend to be there, God willing.
Okay, cool. Well, I knew that, that there aren't very many people outside the U.S. that have been able to fully make it to Reach Conference. And if they did, it's going to be a one-time and probably not every year kind of a thing. At this point, I feel really privileged to have been there for the first one and to have been a part of it as it was. Now, I wasn't forming it. I just knew the people. I knew Romans. I knew Aki. I'd had lots of conversations with the two of them at different times. And then as it was getting started and it was, hey, we're going to try to do this thing, Alpha. And I'm like, I already planned on doing this. Like, duh. I already wanted to do this. I wanted to try it. So, like, hey, so I'm all in. Who else do you need to have a pastor saying it's good, you can do this to help convince? Like, I'll absolutely endorse this and help proclaim that and get that out there. And I had no plans on being on stage. And then it was just kind of like, hey, Romans, do you need anything? Do you need anybody? And it's like, do you have all these things covered? And it's like, all right, I'll take that one. I'll see what I can do. I'll share my thoughts on it. I don't have a problem being on stage, is what I say. But it's like, it's totally different being in a bunch of, I'm going to call them peers for me. Because it is peers, because we're all streamers together. I may come in with a pastor and all of that. I'm not giving up front to give you a sermon. Like, that wouldn't feel like you're my peer. I'm up there as a streamer trying to tell you, I'm trying to do my best, and here's some things I've learned, and I hope I'm encouraging you in what I'm doing, and I hope you can apply some of my stuff, but I'm also learning alongside of you as we're doing it, which is some of the most fun. So there's that, like, anxiety level that I had of being there at Reach Conference, getting up front. Like, nobody knows that, really. They're like, you're a pastor. It's a church. You're up on stage. What's the difference? It's like, oh, there's a big difference. It's not it's not the same. But it was so much fun. I'm glad you're going to plan on trying to make a cake. Is it going to be exclusive for or is it going to be everybody's going to get a piece of cake?
I want to make enough for everybody. There's talk of getting me access to that kitchen at the church. Hopefully that is kind of dependent on me being able to use that kitchen. But my parents live in the area, so it's convenient for me. All I really need is the plane ticket and the Reach ticket, which thankfully Jate was very sweet and he bought a bunch of extra tickets and held one back for me. So I already paid him back for it. I was like, well, I guess I'm going. Here's your money, Jate.
Well, I did a similar thing. I bought tickets that I'm going to give away. Well, I haven't given mine.
Nice.
I haven't given mine away. Like, the price was so, like, here's what I started out with afterwards. Like, well, I had a free ticket the first year. I earned a free ticket the second year. I'll get a free ticket the third year. Why wouldn't I? I know how to get free tickets. I'll get a free ticket. And I was like, we were driving back when they were announcing it, and it was like, okay, well, are you going to buy a ticket? Oh, I'm going to buy it at half price. I'm going to jump on board with that. I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't you? And then I slept on it, and it was like, wait, I should buy a ticket to give away. So I can buy a ticket, and if I earn one, I'll just give away a ticket. Because I had a ticket for myself this year that I didn't pay for. I had a ticket that I earned to give away. I had a third ticket that I earned, but I didn't earn it until the day or the week of the conference, to give. Wow. So I gave away the food from that. I couldn't give the ticket away, but I gave away the food that was included. So it's like I bought one, and then I thought, okay, I got myself covered. Wait a minute, I have stream. I was telling other people, buy them to give away for your stream anniversary, buy them to give away from your affiliate anniversary. And then I decided, well, I need to do this too. So I think I've got 3 tickets. So I'm going to give one away for affiliate anniversary in February and stream anniversary in August. And I'll be able to give those away. So I'm going to have fun with that. And we got a couple of people who were in the chat talking about being there. Supersonic was there, stayed at
I remember meeting Supersonic.
Yep, he stayed at Airbnb with me, and for him, it was not the cost, it was the travel alone and travel to get there and all of the details of all of that stuff. And I helped a lot with him, and so did Born Again Gamer, who, like, this is how sweet people at Reach Conference are. Born Again Gamer drove from Canada across the border so that he could connect with Supersonic, go to the airport, and fly together to Reach Conference.
Oh, that's really sweet.
He could have flown from Canada. It would have been a whole lot easier and simpler for him. Instead, he chose to go that route and help someone else out. And the two of them crashed with me. We had while we were there. Western New York. I wasn't going to out you. I was just saying the Canadian border. You can out yourself. And then Warrior of Light, who's in here, came from Honduras. So he's from the U.S. He lives in Honduras. And, yeah, he was able to make it this year. So hopefully he can make it again next year. But
yeah, I didn't realize he came from so far. It wasn't until after that someone had said, like, oh, he came from Honduras. And I was like, I had no idea.
yeah. Yep. He's this is the fun stuff of being in this community is you get to know people, and it doesn't matter where they are. There's a level at which you resonate with them. You have similar experiences, and then getting to spend time in person with them. Yeah, like I'd never been with Supersonic before. I'd never been with Warrior of Light. We'd never met before. I mean, there's plenty of people. And then there's the people like Jate. I can't tell you. It'd take me a minute to figure out how many times I've been at the same conference that Jate has been at. Like, Jate and I do travel in all of these weird circles where we're going to conferences and we see each other. So it's probably 6 times, I would guess, that I've hung out with Jate. And actually what was fun is the first one, this is when I was working and had an income. I paid for an Airbnb to go to a church planting conference in Orlando. And so Jate crashed there. Love Thy Nerd was crashing there. Lux Digital Church was crashing there. And the Church Digital was crashing there. So it was like, I paid for it. Everybody come and hang out with me.
That was a big party.
It was a big party. Yes, it was awesome. So that's the first time I met Jate. And then we've been at every Reach. We've been at every NCMS. We've been back to the Exponential Church Planting Conference. So yeah. I'm losing track of how many times I've seen Jake.
And with Lux Digital Church. And that's the one I can't go to. And so, yeah, NCMS is like, come April, I will be crying because everybody will be there and I won't.
Well, maybe someone will gift you tickets. Who knows? If God wants you there, you know.
I will have moved already, so it would be tickets and $1,000 plane ticket.
Well, I was meaning not just tickets to go, but airline tickets as well. NCMS is different than Reach Conference. NCMS is broader, not just video game and not just Twitch. So board gaming, RPGs, anything nerdy is where they're at, and that's going to be at a castle, and it's Glen Erie Castle in Colorado. And last year it was a blast hanging out there. So this will be year 3 for NCMS. So
NCMS from the outside, because I haven't been to it yet, but haven't been to Reach. Like NCMS kind of sounds like it's a little bit more less con, more conference, and Reach feels more con than conference.
Yeah, that's probably fair to say. The other thing I would say is Reach has multiple things going on at exactly the same time, and you're going to miss a lot of things. Where at NCMS, there's not going to, until you get to the evening and you can go choose your own adventure, there's not going to be a lot of you're going to miss something that's going on. It's going to be one main conference room, and the conference is happening in there, and you get to the evening and you can have other things that'll go on in the evenings. Con like Comic-Con is not really a conference. That kind of idea, Supersonic, is what she's saying. So going to a con,
more entertainment based versus like actual discussions and like serious content.
Yeah, convention versus conference. There you go. Mega, thank you for that. Wow. So any other thoughts on Reach Conference, as long as we were just talking about that maybe something that was just a blessing or a surprise there? We've talked about a few things, but something that just like, wow, this is going to help you as a streamer, or you were able to help someone else as a streamer in a conversation or an encounter you had there?
I don't know that there was anything necessarily that like was like, oh, this will help like my streams or anything. For me, it was definitely primarily a social blessing. Samus stayed with me and my parents.
Oh, cool.
So getting to meet her in person and spend basically all day. We were both there for a whole week. So we got there early and then we left quite a few days after. So getting to spend an entire week with her and get to know her in person, as we've been getting to know each other just like in Discord and on Twitch, was just really awesome because she's such a lovely human being.
Oh, she's fantastic.
Awesome. So, and it was just really special to get to meet her in person and find that, you know, that exciting moment of like, yeah, this is the exact same friendship, just in person. Like, it's not weird. It's not uncomfortable. It's just me and Samus. And so, yeah, yeah, the social blessings of Samus, and then getting to meet some other people. Like getting to chat with you was really lovely. It was all the people that I got to actually finally kind of break that barrier of just being in someone's chat of like, no, here's the actual me, and I can finally talk to you. I can finally like give you a hug, and like
The finally give someone
things.
a hug is one of the best things.
Yeah.
And I was talking about this, and I think I've shared it in a few places, but I'm going to keep sharing this. The most surprising thing for me was not that, Aki said, hey, I want to have some prayer. I'm going to tap all the pastors. Can you stand up front and pray for people when they come up? I'm like, absolutely. Just, sign me up. Tell me anything I can do, Aki. Like, that's just what my attitude is like, Aki, how do I help? Romans, how do I help? So he's like, do that. And the first person comes up, can't even talk, just needed a hug. And it wasn't just like a quick hug. Like, I swear we hugged for like 5 minutes, and it was just awesome. And it was like, wow, I don't have that happen when I'm a pastor at a church, that someone comes up and they just need a hug for 5 minutes, and then we have a conversation and we pray. It might be come up and they're in tears and I give them a short little pat, and then it's hands off. It was so much more. And then it was weird on some level, because then every single person that came up to me for prayer started with a hug, and not just a hug. It was we're embracing and we're just hugging. And I had like 6 people come up for prayer that I just hugged for like a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I mean, like, not just an embrace. I mean, we're just hugging each other. And I was like, this is so cool. I don't know the last time I went to go pray with people and they all started with a hug. They might end with a hug, or you share something and go, oh, can I give you a hug? This was like the first thing they wanted from me was a hug. That was what they needed more than anything else, was that embrace. And it was like, I don't know if I'll ever have that experience again. It was just so cool and such a blessing.
That's amazing. I love that.
I'm trying to think if there's something that we haven't covered. We got lots of time, so we can go in any direction with this. That's what I love, is like, I have very few questions. We can chat about them and go wherever the conversation goes. But it truly is like just trying to reflect on what God has been up to in the space, and thinking where God is moving already, which I love coming alongside of. Like, I didn't know God was moving in the space until a friend invited me into the space. And then I saw God at work all over the place. And it's like, I love connecting the people that God is up to. So I love that you're over doing cakes. You know what? Let's just talk about that. Like, let's back up. You said you had made cakes for a living for a while.
Yes.
Was that working in a bakery? Was that working like in a grocery store that had a bakery? Like, how did you get your start on baking cakes?
So I made my first cake, was my 16th birthday cake. My sister got married, and like I saw her wedding cake, and it was all perfectly frosted, and that fascinated me. And then a year later, she made a fondant cake for someone, and I was like, that's cool. Tell me what you did so I can do it. So she told me like how to make, she made homemade fondant out of like marshmallows. And I was living overseas at the time. I grew up a missionary kid. So I hunted around the city trying to find marshmallows. I found marshmallows, but I couldn't find powdered sugar anywhere. I had to borrow my best friend's mom's coffee grinder to make powdered sugar. So I made powdered sugar for homemade marshmallow fondant.
I just got to pause on the thought. I've never thought of making my own powdered sugar. I didn't realize if you just put it in a coffee grinder, you can make powdered sugar.
It's not as
it won't be as fine. It won't be as fine,
but it works.
But I just never even thought of, if I don't have powdered sugar, how would I make it? I just go, I wouldn't. Like, that would be my answer.
Yeah. You got to do what you got to do when you grow up in a third world country.
That's cool. I love that. So creative, innovative, problem solving. Love that.
But yes, I made my first cake. I made it with my best friend. People will occasionally see her in my chats under the name Garetham. I grew up with her. But yeah, I made that, and then I just made cakes as a teenager and did baking and everything, and I loved it. And then I went to school in Canada. I went to school in Toronto at a place called Bonnie Gordon College of Confectionery Arts. It no longer exists, sadly, but I took a two month cake decorating course specifically just for cake decorating, because I didn't want to do culinary school. I didn't want to do pastry school, because like I can't be around like fermenting bread because I'm allergic to yeast. It makes me nauseous.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was like, I just want to make cakes. That's all I want to do, just cakes. So this school allowed me to do just cakes and not go into debt in the process. And from there, I moved to Southern Arizona with my sister, my oldest sister who was living there at the time. And I got a job at a bakery and just worked there for about 2 years. After about like 6 months, the main decorator left and I became head decorator plus caterer, because we had a catering company with us as well, and I ended up getting stolen for that. So I did cake. I was the head cake decorator in charge of 2 other girls, and then I was the main catering assistant. So it was like wearing a lot of hats.
Yeah.
I worked there for 2 years, and then I met my husband, who's sitting over there, and he stole me away, and we moved to Japan, and I just started making cakes on my own, and that's just been my thing as we've hopped from place to place, Japan to England to Guam to here, and to our next place after.
So as you've moved, have you mostly done independent make cakes for yourself, or have you gone outside of the home and tried to find jobs? Mostly just in self-employed?
I wouldn't be able to handle.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to handle it anymore. I was in physical therapy once a week, sometimes only twice, every other week, but like because my condition is a joint problem, so like my shoulders can dislocate easily. I'm always in a lot of pain. My vertebrae twist out of alignment. It's unpleasant. So I wouldn't be able to physically handle an actual job in a bakery again. So it's always been like from home. In England, I was an actual registered business with the UK.
Very cool.
So I actually was fully legit for like 4 years.
Okay.
But otherwise, it's all just been kind of like, on the side. People ask for a cake and they just pay me whatever I ask and make it for them.
Yeah. So how many boxes of supplies of cake pans and all of that are you going to need to pack up?
I packed it all up on stream a couple weeks ago, actually. I've got, goodness, there's like 4 large totes.
That seems like not very much.
They're large totes. Okay. They're like the deeper than this. They're like a good 2.5 feet tall, I think.
Okay.
So there's 4 of those. There's one of those tall, like plastic pull shelf drawer things. That's pretty much all my cake pans. There's another smaller drawer set and a few other drawers and a couple of little boxes. And then I've got a bag of some specific tools that will go with me on the plane. So that basically as soon as I am in a house.
Those are the ones that you don't trust with anyone else, but you need them for stream and they've got to be with you. I understand that.
Most basic stuff. So it's a lot. Like it's a whole wall in the kitchen just of all of the tools.
Yeah. I asked because when I was growing up, my mother baked cakes. So she worked in and out of the home at times. She worked at, the grocery store in the cake department for a while, or she did it from home. When she built a house when I was really young, she had a double oven, so 2 ovens, so that she could be baking more things at the same time. So she had 2 ovens, and she had like, I don't know how many, hundreds of specialty mold pans. So she had a pan to be able to make a cross. So you weren't putting the cross together. It had the little ridges on the side. Yep. So it was all, she had the Barbie dress one so that you'd have the you know what I'm saying? Like, the Barbie dress. Yep. I don't know how many Barbie cakes she made when I was a kid. And then you have to get the doll to go in the top and all of that stuff. As a kid, I remember having a John Deere tractor cake. She made a lot of John Deere tractor cakes. So fun. So she had the mold for both sides. So you'd make this half, and then you would put them together. That's why I was like going, so how many of these do you have, these specialty things?
I don't really have many I don't know that I really have many of the specialty ones at all. I have like maybe a heart-shaped one, and I have a duck one that I haven't used yet.
A duck one? Oh.
I love ducks. I am a duck girl. I got all the ducks. They're everywhere in my house. But I don't really have a lot of the specialty ones. I don't do a lot of those style. I've done like a cross one before in some of those, but Yeah, if I do a shaped cake, I'm often doing like an elaborate carved situation. Like I turned this into a cake in January last year.
Very
So
cool. Very cool.
that definitely doesn't have a custom mold. So
What? There's no custom mold for that one? You could
no, unfortunately not.
that would take some doing to make a custom mold for that.
Yeah.
If you're doing a candle, not so much. But if you were doing a cake, that like pull that out and have it stay intact, I don't think that's happening.
Yeah. I've played with those like 2-part molds though. Like I did my family, well, my grandparents and I have one of their favorite memories of me making cakes. Their favorite cake is I tried to make when I was working in the bakery, like my first year. I had a teddy bear once, like 2 halves.
Oh yeah. She had that. Yeah, the front and the back of the teddy bear. I remember that. Yeah.
I'd never done that before, and so I was trying to make it, and I was still relatively new, and like it fell apart. Its head fell off. Like I managed to put the head back on, and I just like piped some X's over the eyes, and like it looks so bad, but like my grandparents loved it so much. It's like their favorite memory is me just absolutely struggling to make the teddy bear.
Oh, that's so fun. Yeah, sometimes the struggle stories are more memorable than the success stories. Yeah. They really are. Well, the other thing, my mom made so many cakes, and I don't know how many people know, like, and I've not watched your streams recently. The doming up, you're cutting the top off so that it's flat when you're putting all the layers together. She did lots of wedding cakes. So we would have like all of that would be ours to eat. She's cutting the top off, and that would be ours to eat. And I don't eat cake anymore. I ate so much cake as a child. I just don't eat cake. It's like, nope, I don't eat anymore.
Did you eat one of my cupcakes at Reach this year?
No, I didn't. I believe they were gone by the time I got in there.
Yeah, there was only like
right. So I did not take one. I left it for everyone else who was really excited and wanted it. So now, if there was enough for everybody, I would absolutely take one. But as a general thing, I don't usually eat cake. I do have a couple exceptions, like a German chocolate cake. The coconut. Oh my goodness, coconut is like one of my favorites. So I'm going to be all over.
I love coconut
the German chocolate cake, fantastic. Carrot cake, but I don't know, it's only cake in name, you know.
Carrot cake is so good though.
But it's not like other cake, so it's totally different. And I might eat a couple others that are just like, oh, I haven't had that in a while. But otherwise, if it's just straight black chocolate cake or it's just white or yellow cake, it's like, yeah, I'm good.
You need my red velvet.
I would do a red velvet. Yes, you bring a red velvet. I will try that. Casey girl.
Yeah, for mine, I
didn't get any either. I guess
pureed cheesecake.
Oh, cheesecake. Well, that's one of those things too. It's like, is it cake in name? Is it tea in name? Is it wine in name? I mean, what are we talking about here?
Kind of more of a pie, but I mean, when I do it, it's like I make it without a crust. I puree it in a food processor into a paste, and then I put that between the layers of my red velvet. So then it is cake.
There you go. Yeah. So that's kind of like my experience growing up was cakes all the time. My mom making cakes for people. The house, like, you know, that we had with two stoves. She did that all the time. When we moved, she then worked out of the house and worked for a grocery store chain for a while, head baker there, cake maker, and then she progressed to working other things that paid more, but then would always bake everybody's birthday cakes that she worked with at work. She would be the one making the birthday cake. They had a wedding, she'd get hired for wedding cakes. She'd do all of those various things. So it's almost one of those things where, I don't know if you have this happen, where if somebody in your family is having something, the expectation is you'll bake the cake, or somebody will be insulted if you didn't get asked to bake the cake. Why didn't Anika bake the cake? She should have been baking the cake over here.
Well, I don't live anywhere near my family.
Right, that's a little different now. You don't live anywhere, but
I get to escape that. Family members, when they get married, it's kind of like I have to make it.
Yes.
So, you know, like my sister-in-law, I got to make hers. My cousin, I got to make hers as well. So, but otherwise, it's like, yeah, I I don't really get to make anything for my family. My dad has a cake he really wants me to make, but it's going to be a lot of work. And I'm like, no, you need to redeem that cake like anybody else in my stream chat. You don't just get that cake free. It's too much work.
Well, maybe Dad would pay you for it, He'd buy all the ingredients, set you up with it. Maybe you do a remote stream from his house and you just stay there and you bake the cake for him at his house. And he pays for your ticket to come, to Reach Conference, and then you just stay there and try to help you out here.
It's this funny joke at this point because it's like a really it's a cake made of cake pops, and I hate them.
Oh,
I loathe cake pop making those. They're a pain in the neck. And he wants, of chili wreaths?
No.
So in the Southwest, because my family's all from the Southwest, they make Christmas wreaths, but they're made out of chilies, dried chilies.
Okay.
And so he wants a wreath, wreath sized of a chili wreath. And he wants all of the chilies to be individually handmade cake pops. Oh. And there's a lot of chilies on that. And I'm like, sir.
No.
No. Thank you.
I understand why. No.
So if he really wants that cake, he needs to be in my stream long enough to earn 50,000 channel points.
There you go.
And get it that way.
There you go.
Or else he needs to pay me like a customer, because ain't no way I'm doing that.
Oh my goodness. Well, I gotta say, I go down to the artisan market, and one of the gals down there, Fee, she has cake pops that she's always has out. She has some nice ones, and then she's got other shaped ones that she does every so often. I can't even imagine doing chili shaped ones. I mean,
yeah, no. I've had so many bad experiences with cake pops and mini cakes that I just will not do them.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom, at sometimes when she sees stuff like that, like cake pops and the cupcake places, she's just kind of upset on a level of how much work that is and how much you're paying for that. I did so much more work to make cakes and didn't even get a fraction of the amount of pay per hour to make a cake that this person is getting for making a cupcake. It's just that kind of but it's also Mom, you lived in a different era. People weren't buying those things then, or nobody was doing it. Also, you can't compare the price of what you got paid to what get paid today, inflation and all of that stuff. But it's
even nowadays, it's hard to make a living off of being a professional cake decorator. In your home, it's a little easier. But when it comes to opening up a shop, actually a lot of places make a lot more of their income through classes than they actually do through their cake orders, because of just really, cake is such a specialized skill set that the cost of not just of labor and of skill is actually far higher than really it's priced, and would price out 90% of people, because the reality is it's a very high skill thing, but nobody wants to pay $800 for, a little 8-inch cake kind of thing. No. So that's, a lot of people will make a lot more of their income when they have a storefront, when they run classes versus the actual orders.
I had not thought about that. In order to price it to sell, you have to sell it below your value. So you have to sell something else to cover the overhead, so that you can actually, I know just in general, the food industry is not one that you're going to make a lot of money in. The margins are so small. Labor costs are so high. Your expenses fluctuate so rapidly, and you have no control over most of your expenses, which gasoline can go up and impact you. Drought can happen and flour goes up. There's so much out of your control to be able to do it. Yeah.
It's limited by manpower too, because as one person, you can, some people can do more than others. I obviously can do even less than others. You're limited by your own manpower. And then you start hiring people, that also then slims down your profit margins when you need to bring in a second person. So yeah, with cakes, it's definitely, unless you're just from at home doing a small business and it's not about making enough to pay your bills, an actual cake business is a very tricky one to make successful.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people that can do really well with doing cakes from home and it being more of a side hustle. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but just
that's what I've been doing the last year. hustle.
Yeah. It's the my life isn't dependent upon this, but it's crucial to the overall, what we're doing here. Because if I wasn't doing this, I'd have to get income somewhere else. It's just kind of like one of those things that contributes. And I think the way that a lot of things are in the world right now, the side hustle is always going to be there for many people. There's going to be very few people that know I have one great source of income and I stay at that job my entire career. That's just not going to be a reality for most people. In fact, one of the things we think of, which being a digital missionary, was what I call people who are doing this on stream. I don't care whether you label yourself a digital missionary or not. That's just how I talk about it. And we help people to do that, whether they're in Twitch stream or they're in other places. It's how do you go about this? How do you think about it? And one of those things that we have to think through is you need to be bivocational or co-vocational. You're not going to, most people, be a partnered Twitch streamer who's a missionary who's able to reach people. Maybe you can be an intentionally really good Christian who streams gaming and be able to be a partner and make enough income. That might be a thing, and that's fine. I'm not disparaging that, but I'm still saying that's going to be very few. So how do we help other people called in the space to figure out what do I do over here and how do I have excellence with what I'm doing on stream, and where are the ways that I can learn from other people, and how I love the find people finding new niches in Twitch. That to me is fun. So I'm waiting for the person that just does pies, because I'd watch that too. I might try to convince my mom, because she's a fantastic pie maker. I would love to get my mom, and I would set her up so that she could stream. However, she doesn't have internet yet to be able to do it. No. It's necessary. So as soon as she has internet and I'm able to stream from her house, I might try convincing her to stream. She was actually at my house for Thanksgiving stream this year, sitting off camera, watching me stream, cooking in the kitchen. Aww. So maybe I could convince her to do it. I'll have to be her mod for sure to make it happen. But if my mom wants to stream, making pies or cake or cooking in the kitchen, I could set her kitchen up and help it happen. She's just got to get internet first.
Yeah, that older generation, especially moms in the kitchen doing the cooking, those always do really, really well, because there's that familial desire that a lot of people have. Like those who don't have good relations with their moms or miss their moms or their dads, and seeing someone, they're similar age to my parent. I miss my parent, or I never had this type of parent before, or my parent was terrible. This person's so sweet, and they're cooking, and it touches a certain part of people's hearts. And I find that a lot of those in the food and drink category, especially that are of that generation, of that older age, they do really well, and they really can reach a place in people's hearts that are hurting better than like me, just as like a 32-year-old can. So that would be really cool.
Yeah. Like I said, it's going to take some convincing, but I'm not going to try it until she gets internet and I can stream from her house. And maybe even I do it as collab stream with her. I get everything set up, and then I could actually control it remotely. I know how to do all of that, and I could set her up, start it, and everything, and she just has to go live and talk. I know how to set it all up. I know all of that. It would be super fun, but it would also be hey, I could hang out with my mom for a couple of hours while she bakes something. That would be fun to do. Yeah,
it'd be a special memory build for you too.
Yeah, or even if I ever have grandkids, to have them hang out with grandma that way, or great grandma, that would be cool. That would definitely be cool. Wow, hadn't thought about that. You get to that. You
got a new idea.
Yeah, I got a new idea. Well, that's one of the things I've thought about too, and you said this a little bit earlier on some level of the now that you're a streamer, you don't want to give it up. Like I have that mentality too. Like as long as Twitch is here, why would I leave Twitch? I know there's people that go to other platforms trying to pursue other things and finances. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying, like, I have the capacity to do it. It's really easy. Now that I know what I'm doing, I'm still learning and growing, all of those things, and hopefully I'm getting better. I'm figuring out the podcast thing. We're into season 2. I'm excited about that. I'm always like experiment with new things. Like I'm going to do bicycle riding streams. That was a blast. Can't wait to do more of those. But I'm always niching into something new and trying something, and all of that's like, why would I give that up and not do anything? Like, my time is still going to be available as long as Twitch is here in 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. I would never have to quit. I would still be able to continue to do that. Like, man, that'll be really interesting in another 20 years to see how long somebody's followed you for. I was going to go check how long I'd followed you for, but it didn't let me do that. When I hit followage, it didn't show. It didn't share how long it was.
I don't know that that's set up on the channel.
Yeah. Well, not everything is set up that way, but it was kind of like, you know what? Because you were talking about you had started about 4 years ago, and I was like, 4 years ago, that was right after I went affiliate. And I was searching around trying to find people. So I was like, did I find you that early on? I was just curious myself if I had, but I don't know.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I didn't run across I didn't find the Christian side of Twitch until around this-ish time, like the end of my second year of streaming.
Okay.
I was coming up on my third year when I first found Shock the Toast, who then introduced me to Lux, who then opened up this whole side of Twitch for me.
Yeah, Shock the Toast. Missed that guy. It's great to meet him in person at the Reach conference last year, and I wish him so much love. He impacted a lot of people that ended up connecting to Reach and other places. And that's another thing too, like the seasons of somebody being on Twitch, like we're talking about, oh man, I could see myself staying on here for a long time. But there's other people that come and go, and that's not a bad thing. If you only do it for a season, if you only reach people for a season, that could be what you're intended to do, because the person that got me on Twitch is not on Twitch anymore. So imagine all those stories that I have. If they would have never streamed, I would have never streamed. I knew about Twitch, but I had no plans on going on Twitch at all. I just looked at my kids and, like, you know, older generation, rolled the eyes back in my head and say, why would I want to watch somebody play video games instead of playing them myself? I don't understand. And I didn't go explore it. I just went, okay, the same, like, and I'm not disparaging the game. This is just built-in bias. It has nothing to do with the game. Like, why would I play Minecraft? It's 8-bit. I grew up on 8-bit. We went to 32. We went to 64. We've got 1080, and we're going 4K. Like, why would I go 8-bit? And I don't care if it's actually 8-bit. It just looks 8-bit. Like, I don't even want to look at the game because it's old. In my mind, it's old, so I don't want it. So I know lots of people that love it, but, like, I've never explored it because I have a bias to start with that just says there's no interest in looking at it. Why would I go further? So I always tease my kids about, why would you watch people play video games, and why? And now I'm on here, and I also teased my son about why are you listening to things at double speed, and now I listen to things on triple speed. So by the way, anybody listening to this on double speed and triple speed, you made it to this point in the podcast. Once it goes live in all of the podcast places, thank you very much. I appreciate you. And by the way, if you go and listen in double and triple speed, you can listen to more. So I totally get that part now. Tony Snark is in the house.
Hey, hello, Tony. Were your ears burning?
I have a fellow. Are you talking about the pixelated nonsense that is Minecraft? Yes, that's what I was talking about.
I love Minecraft. Minecraft is fun.
Yeah, and I understand the game and what it does and what it's trying to do. It's fantastic at. I just don't want to play it.
That's fair.
It's the same way I'm not interested in first-person shooter, because by the time it takes me to line up the sights and hold it steady, I've already been shot 10 times, and I've not even played any of the war games. That's just in regular games that happen to have once in a while where you have to target and shoot. Like when Assassin's Creed decided to put a crossbow in there, like, no, get rid of this. I don't want it. Like, I need to sneak up behind somebody or jump off a building and assassinate them. No chance of, stay far away. I'm going to come up close and personal with you. That's how we're going to do this.
It's kind of how I feel in Fortnite. Like, I'll play Fortnite, and I'm really not good at it. I'm really not.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Well, I don't like the first-person view. It's just so hard for me. I need to see my character on the screen. And there's that piece of it, too, that just, like, where am I looking? Without my character showing where I'm looking, I don't know which way to look. is how I feel sometimes. Like,
Okay.
but you know, yeah, if I go back to, let's see, Commodore 64 and Atari 2600, I've been playing games for a while. So I've developed a lot of bias along the way. Let's just say that.
You got a lot of opinions.
I got a lot of opinions, and I share them freely with anybody who will listen. And since you're all here, you're stuck listening to me. And thank you, by the way, for making it this far in the podcast, everybody. Where was it my wife and I were just at? I'm trying to think where it was. We just went somewhere. I can't remember where it was. And they had a whole bunch of video games set up. And we were just like walking down the row of video games that were set up. And there was 1943. And I don't know how many people here know the video game 1943. It was out in the arcade, and then it came to NES. And you're flying a plane around and you're shooting stuff is all it is. And I remember playing that game, and I remember getting it on NES. And it was when they first came out with some of the non-approved Nintendo controllers. And I got a non-approved Nintendo controller that was a pilot joystick that you could hold that was shaped like a handle with trigger buttons that had automatic fire. And I put that in the game, and I just annihilated it's like, this game is easy. I just put it on auto fire, pull the trigger, and it just keeps shooting. And it was amazing. It's like, oh, it was so good. As opposed to, sitting there hitting it all the time in the arcade. Anyway, we walk past that game, and I go, okay, we have to keep walking, or I'm going to spend an hour putting quarters in this game for nostalgia alone. And the brewery we go to has a whole bunch of pinball machines there, and I'm just like, make this offhanded comment. I'm so glad that game is not at the local brewery. I would have a hard time not going down there and blowing money every week. Anyway, and I believe that's probably 32-bit, so it's okay. It's okay. It's 32-bit.
It's an acceptable.
It's an acceptable, right? Yes. Oh, Tony, you still have your Commodore 64? And I wish I still had my Atari 2600, the original one. You haven't heard of a 1943? Yeah, it's a classic game. Yeah, Tony, exactly. Classic game. What? Shock the Toast is in the chat. Oh, dude. So good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Only a few of us were alive in 1943.
So just you. It was just you, Toast, that was alive in 1943.
Yeah, just you.
Got it.
I'm not that old. I'm old, but I'm not that old. All right. I'm just trying to think where I lost the conversation now. I got sidetracked.
I know. Here, I think there was something in my brain. Okay, you said something about like excited about like what like God is doing.
Oh yeah,
in
absolutely.
Places and things.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got a topic on there.
Awesome.
That I'm excited for this coming year. Like I'm obviously talking about like I'm nervous about it because of what the time zone change is going to mean and everything. But I'm also quite excited because of my beginning involvement with the Campfire Ministries, which Bootstraps Boots, who was in chat a while ago, him and Malachi, also username of Dr. Forehead, it's kind of started that with another person and have brought me in, which was really sweet that they invited me to be a part of this. Just like a fledgling ministry as we're kind of beginning to figure out what is our goal, what is our aim, what is our like the meaning of our mission, like what are we trying to do when it comes to reaching people and creating this ministry community. And some of those things like that have kicked off, and that's like with Campfires and Dragons with our D&D campaign that's going really well. It's super fun, and building that community and just those plans coming up of being more involved with that and seeing what that's going to look like and what the campfire will be for people and how we can be an impact on those who come into our streams. And I know that we're starting the account's been created, but how it will look is still getting figured out. But the Campfire Ministries is a new account that I'll be associated with. So that's the 5th account that I'll be live on. And doing different collaboration things on there. Really excited to see what that looks like, and just so pleased with getting to know Boots and Malachi and starting to create this team together. And it's just made me very excited for next year. As much as I'm afraid of what it's going to look like for the change for my streams, I feel the most driven and purposeful. Like it feels like there's starting to be more of a path forward of like, oh, I see like purpose coming on. Like, yes, I do devotions on my gaming streams, and I'll pray for people in my cake streams and all of those things, but they're more nebulous things of like, I'm a Christian trying to keep these incorporated, but not so much like, here's a path, here's a plan, here's what this all looks like. And so I'm quite excited for this next year of seeing how much more purpose God's going to bring with what I'm doing with the Campfire, especially with the gaming channel, because that's the main channel that's associated with. So yeah, I'm really excited about what that looks like, because Bootstraps Boots is a fantastic human, as is Malachi.
Absolutely.
And all the guys that we're doing D&D with are also just fantastic and lovely. That's Dr. Level Up, Saint Bear, and Ponzik, and then also Boots. And just
that's a great crew.
It's really exciting. They're fantastic. I love them. I joke that I'm the token female on the D&D team, but I mean it in a loving way. But
yeah, when you are, you can joke about it, you know.
Yeah, when you are the only female in the
then you get to make the joke about it. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. But yeah, and partnerships with Lux and things like that, because I'm a Lux ally, so associated with Lux, and I know what being a Lux ally looks like is going to kind of be going through a transition soon. I don't even know what that looks like either, but I'm excited for more, less nebulous ideas of what's happening and a more concrete path forward in both of those areas. So I'm excited to see what will happen and more ways to get involved with the people who are involved with that, because I've found that in the gaming streams, I'm definitely a co-streamer.
Shock the Toast
for
just
sure. I
followed.
like having someone I stream with, like Zamper in the chat is on my stream every Friday with me. We're playing like Pal World or Star Trek Online or something, and those streams always are really fun because he's really great with chat, and we always have really great conversations. Saturdays are usually a campfire stream. I'm with someone else, and yeah, my streams when I have someone with me always do really well. We have the most connections going on in chat, the most fun, because I'm just I like being with people. So getting more involved with those things is really exciting.
Yeah, Shock, don't worry. Yeah, that's a me problem that it was so loud. I need to adjust things. I have to figure out how to adjust levels on alerts and blurp. They all just come into audio and go forward from there.
I can tell you later how to separate them out.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Own audio.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I used to have them on separate channels, and I kept having problems. I was using Rode Unify, and I
can just separate them out in OBS.
Okay, I'll have to figure out how to do that. But anyway, I was having problems with when it would try to do the streaming together. It would say, no, that's not a microphone, it's nothing there. No, that's not a microphone, there's nothing there. And I could not get stuff to work with the Rode Unify. It just did not cooperate with different browsers and all that's I just ditched it and went back to there's desktop and there's microphone, and that's it. There's no other division of stuff. So that sounds really cool. I've thought about the whole D&D thing the last couple of years. I know that Lux Digital Church has a whole campaign and people, and I've thought about jumping in there. And then I realized I stopped playing D&D at 3rd edition. And I'm not excited about the learning curve of getting into 5th edition. That's kind of the thought. It's I got to sit down and learn the new system.
It's not even 5e anymore. There's a new system.
I know that it's no. So I actually had tried to see if I could find locally some old people like me that played 3rd edition, and let's start a 3rd edition campaign. But I don't want to lead it, and it did not prove successful. So OBS is native really now. Fun. Shock. Okay, I'll have to look at that. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just.
Oh no, you're good.
What were you saying?
Just D&D is super fun. Really enjoyable. I like it.
I have had some fantastic times, and it's one of those things where I've thought about. This is what one of my thoughts is I played Warhammer Fantasy with my best friend from college. I played D&D growing up with my best friend from middle school and high school, and other people's if I could get those people together online and we could play together on a monthly basis, it would be a blast. And I've not been able to pull that off, partially because I probably have to do all of the work. And it's I don't want to do all the work. I don't have time to do all of the work. So it just hasn't happened. But I would be like, I wouldn't be able, maybe I'd get them in the Discord, you know, we could get a Discord channel doing that together and be able to do it. Yeah, they wouldn't let me stream it, which is what I ideally would love to be able to do. It would be hilarious. I mean, could you? Yeah. Like, I'm just thinking about how different that stream. I'd have to have another channel for that, honestly, that would not say pastor in the name. I'm just saying it would, it would have to not have pastor in the name and be 18 plus, because my friends, when I hang out with my best friend from high school, like, it's one of the few people I'll drop F-bombs on. And I do it because I think it's hilarious to drop F-bombs on him. We ride bike together, so it's usually we turn the corner and he said, here's where we're going to ride, and there's a big hill in front of us, and I'll just drop F-bombs on him because, like, what are you doing to me, you know? And so I'll just show my disdain for the route that he's chosen and give him a hard time that way. So it is all intentional. It's not that I'm not controlling my tongue. I'm intentionally letting my tongue go wherever it wants to give him a hard time. And I feel that's fun. So that's how that stream would go. If I'd have to have a new channel for that one, I would think. Would just be streaming with a bunch of people that maybe we would attract a whole different audience instead of a Christian audience.
Flat Cap After Dark.
Flat Cap After Dark. There we go. There we go. Somebody might steal that channel. I better go, start that just in case. Wait, the F in Flat Cap is dropping the F-bomb. Flat. Flat is a 4-letter word. Flat is a 4-letter word. I might have to go do that. Putting the F back in Flat Cap. There we go. I love things. Yeah, I can say Yeah, there's so many fun things that you can do and connecting with people. I'm glad you're connecting with some people in that way, so that while you're trying to reestablish your stream, you have another outlet that's already not relying on you, that you just to go hang out, participate in, and get to be stay with that connection. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's special. Like, I've been thinking lately, like, I can't imagine what my life would be like without Twitch and Discord at this point, which tells you how just, like, completely pervasive into, like, your life it can be.
Yeah.
Which is wild to me. My life before this was completely different, and now it's this. Like, I got into a little bit of more gaming with my husband before I found Twitch. Like, he got me into playing some games when we were in England. This was before 2020. And, it was fun. I was playing Minecraft again. I hadn't played it in a while. He introduced me to Ark, Survival Evolved, the dinosaur survival game. And, we were doing a lot of video gaming and things. And then I found, like, Twitch and streaming. And before it was just like, I just was, I had my own little corner of this L table that we had. He had the most space. And I just had, like, a little monitor.
I know how it creeps.
It was like my computer.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Like, my husband's over here with, like, he's got an iPad, he's got his mouse and keyboard, and he's got a really nice screen and some speaker stuff, but it's, like, very barren over there. Like, he's a gamer, but very barren. And I'm over here with massive screen, additional monitor, 2 laptops right here, all these little decorations. I got Pikachu in the background purely for stream decoration. Like, and it's like, this was not me 4 years ago. This would never have been me 4 years ago. Right. I feel like a different person, and it's really interesting. It's like I thought about changing my name to Annika legally. I don't think I will, just because it would make my parents really sad, because I love my parents and I don't want to do that to them. But it's funny. It feels like Annika is a more fully rounded version of who I am, like a part of me that never got to really come out, the, like, really nerdy, more weird, not so neurotypical person that was maybe embarrassed or shamed is now more out here and loved and welcomed. And I feel more fully me as Annika than I do as, like, my real name most of the time. And it's wild. I can't imagine what this year would have been like without Twitch.
Yeah, that's really cool. I will say, we were talking earlier, and it's about, I've always known who I am and did not want to compromise who I was and wasn't trying to be like other people. However, when you are the pastor of a church, there is a level at which I can't always show all of me to everybody, and I have to hesitate and delay and think through things before responding. That just causes you to sometimes come across as less than genuine. And it's not that I'm trying to do that. Whereas I do not have any issues with that on stream whatsoever. It's like I go off on tangents. I can't do that in the middle of a sermon. Like somebody can't make a comment and then I just say, wow, it's a great question. Let's spend the next 20 minutes answering that question before I get back to what I wanted to share with you. Like they're all going, the Cowboys game, and this, I lived in Texas for a while. The Cowboys game is at 1, and we better be out of here by 11:59 so that we can beat the Baptist over to Luby's. I mean, that was, and Luby's, for those that don't know, is a buffet restaurant, a cafeteria style that you can go. I was like, you had to beat them to get your lunch, so you got home to watch the Cowboys at 1 o'clock. It's like, yay. I don't understand why that was so great. Like, there's this thing called TiVo, and you can skip commercials, and by the time you get to the fourth quarter, you're caught up. It's great. You don't have to sit there and watch commercials. So, but
Tony, I do love my parents, but I don't know that I love them that much. And also, it's not my mom. She could care less. She's on my side. Yeah. It's my dad.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where it's like you come up with a name, a streamer name, and I was actually just talking with someone who's trying to reevaluate their streamer name. And I've had a couple of opportunities, too, with people who came on intentionally when they started saying, hey, I'm going to be this big shot. I'm going to be all that. I'm doing this all for selfish reasons. And then later said, I started with the wrong motivation. I need to change my name because that's not who I am anymore. And I've got to help one person move in that direction, to mentor them and walk alongside of them as they came up with their own name, and someone else that came to me and said, I want you to name me. You made such an impact. You need to come up with my new name. Oh my goodness, that was a tremendous amount of pressure to do that. and like I hope I pick well. And I spent, I want to say, 3 months thinking about and praying about and having conversations and came up with a name that they love, which is such a blessing. And then I just had a friend today that was like, I'm struggling. And I did spend a lot of time coming up with this name, but now this name may be getting in the way of me doing ministry. So how do I go through that? I'm like, I don't know. Flat cap dapper apprentice. There we go. It's the relationship that you get to have on such a deep level with some people, even to the point like, you and I are both like, Shock is here. This is exciting. I'm so glad to see you, Shock the Toes. Haven't seen you since Reach last year. I'm just like overjoyed seeing you in the chat. What a great thing. And Tony got to. I don't think we had a conversation at Reach. I know we were around each other a couple of times, but I don't know if we had a conversation. And then other people here, it's like it's just an ongoing relationship building that you pick up where you left off, and there's no necessary judgment of being gone that I feel at times or have felt at times or watched other people's reaction to when they're a parent and their kids have been sick, or they're a parent of a traveling sports team kid and you've missed church for a month and you show up and you say, oh, hey, it's great to see you. And what they hear is, where have you been? Even if you don't mean it that way. And they respond in a horrible, horrible reaction to that. And I don't see that level of judgment of anybody that shows up. It's just genuine excitement about, I'm so glad you're here. This is wonderful to see you. I've missed you. It's awesome to know that you're around, and I hope you're doing well, which feels different than in person.
Yeah, I think that this space gives a level of understanding, because we all understand that we have our real lives, and as much as sometimes maybe we wouldn't want it to, our real lives do have to take precedence, and we have to get stuff done, or things happen, whether good or bad, and people disappear for a while for whatever reason. And then, there's also the culture of sometimes people ghost, sometimes people leave, and it's almost like we're accustomed to that. Like there's a level of expectation. So when someone comes back, it's not how dare you leave. It's like, yeah, people leave, like that kind of thing happens. Yeah. We're just glad you came back. Like it's more like returning isn't the norm. Like leaving is the norm, so it's normal. Turning isn't, so then it's the excitement.
That's a great thought. I had not realized that perspective. I love that. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. And there's also, I've had, like, I think the first time I experienced that kind of, I didn't feel shamed for coming back or, you know, or for missing, was because of time change. It was Australia went 2 hours away from us because we went forward, they went back, or whatever it was in the fall. Yeah, fall back, and they went forward. All of a sudden, the streams I watch are 2 hours different. I'm not watching them anymore. And then the times change happened back in the spring, and I showed up back, and everybody's just so excited to see me. I was like, I felt really loved and missed. And no shame about where have you been and why haven't you been here. Just like, and I was like, I think that was the first time that I fully identified the level of community that happens in Twitch. And it was before I started streaming that I saw that, and it was like, it was just really, really cool. Yeah, plus a lot of us are in different time zones.
Like that. I have like my very first ever Twitch friend is Australian.
Okay.
And This Big Small World, and he does food and drink streams and D&D streams. And I was in the same time zone as him. Like exact same time zone, so we'd be in each other's chats. It was fantastic. We were just like we were Twitch besties. Like we both started streaming within a couple months of each other. We were always neck and neck with followers. Like we got affiliate around the same time. We had so much fun being like, oh, Annika's about to hit 500. Y'all go help her. And then when he was like almost at 500, it's like, oh, y'all go help Michi, so he'll get 500. And we were like each other's little cheerleaders. And then I moved here, and I can't watch his streams anymore because of the time zone. And it's really sad. And there's been a few rare occasions where he streams at a time where I'm like, oh, I can actually pop in for a few minutes and like say hi. And it's always just excitement. It's like, she's back. Annika's here. Yay. Even if it's for like 5 minutes.
Oh, exactly. So yeah. Even if it's 5 minutes, the pop in is so much fun. I love the pop in. So I don't get to watch streams late at night very often because I go to bed at 10 at night. And that's just a thing that my wife and I decided when we first got married. We always go to bed together. We don't go to bed separate. So when she's not home, I can stay up. I don't have to go to bed when she goes to bed. And I usually can't sleep if she's not here, so I stay up intentionally later. So like last week she was gone for work, so I was just popping around. Actually, it was this week. Earlier this week, she was gone, and I'm just popping around watching people and just saying hi, jump over to somebody, like watch for 10, 15 minutes, jump over to somebody else and say hi and hang out. I was just making the rounds like, hello, everybody. How are you? It's after bedtime, and I'm here. And then if it got into a conversation, I'd hang out for a while, and if not, I moved on to the next one, and it just depended on what was going on. It was like I got to go visit a whole bunch of people. I just got to go visiting and hang out. It was pretty cool. Maybe
it's like the olden days of popping by someone's door and just for like a quick coffee.
Yeah, like when I used to live in an apartment and you just pop by and say hi to the neighbor next door, or when you lived in a dorm. I never lived in a dorm. I always was apartments, but that whole like I would watch that when I'd go to friends in the dorm. Like you're just walking down the hallway and you pop by and say hi to the person that's in there, even if you're just walking past. Just the pop in quick and how you doing, hope you're doing well is actually a fun thing to keep building relationship with that gets overlooked, I think. Well, we've been going for a while. Any last thoughts or things that we have not brought up that you'd like to share?
I don't know. I can't think of anything. I mean, unless chat has something, I can't think of anything.
Well, I just don't want to leave anything unsaid that you were thinking about saying that you could be sharing. So I have had a blast. I just love sitting and chatting with people, if you can't tell. And it's fun. Chat, you've been awesome. Love all of you hanging out with us for this time. It's been a blessing. We will be in prayer for you and your move, and you're going to have to start over again. You're going to have to figure out your schedule. I was just thinking maybe when you move, you'll be able to hang out and your friend from Australia, because the time will be more conducive to hanging out there. So there'll be a reconnection that'll be able to happen because of the move. But one thing I do like to do with whoever is in the stream is ask them if they have someone we can go and raid? Someone that you know that we can go and bless. So do you have anybody that if you want to take a look real quick and see if they're around that we can go and raid? That way, often for both streaming and we're collabing, we get a double raid to them, but we won't have that today.
So many people.
Yeah, sometimes there are lots and sometimes there are not many. So
I guess it would be a question of like, who do you normally like to raid out to after these kind of?
after the podcast, I usually let the guest pick somebody and often introduce me into somebody I don't know.
Okay. And let's go for, okay, so Gusty J. I'll put their name in.
Okay. Put the name in the chat. I do not know Gusty J.
I found them through Positive and Negative CPU.
Oh, okay.
They're super fun, high energy person, but their stream is always really enjoyable.
Okay. Gusty J is doing Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Yeah, he does a lot of retro gaming.
Okay. Cool. Well, we'll go out and bless Gusty J. Let's see, I'm trying to remember if I have. Yeah, I do have raid commands. I was just thinking that do I have raid? Yeah, I do. I don't think I always remember to do those on this channel when we raid out. So there's raid commands if you want to raid out. And yeah, this podcast will be out in the first of the year in all the new places. So Control Alt Redeem, redeeming the space and redeeming the culture. That's what we're seeking to do and help people to do. So what a privilege it was to have you on here, Anika's Cakery. Go check her out. What's your gaming channel? Is what, Anika's Gaming?
Anika Gaming, and then
okay.
Campfires and Dragons and the Campfire Ministries.
All right. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Let me start the raid, and we'll throw the credits.